Okay, I see it now. Should be working. Awesome. Wanted to start a little bit early tonight. Just that way we have a little bit more time. Don't believe I have anything scheduled tonight, so pretty much everything is open. Alright, let's get the Streamlabs. I'll get the Streamlabs set up on this screen. That way the chat is much, much bigger. First again. Now that time it was Mr. Thicos. What's up, guys? How you doing? Actually, we're gonna put Streamlabs on this screen because that light is super bright and I cannot see anything. Gerlandia, what's up, buddy? How you doing, man? Hey, Kite, I sent a friend request on Discord, BTC Vic. Alrighty, I'll go ahead and accept that for you because I got a couple here. Pending. Alright, so I got yours. Got Crypto Soldier. Gonna trust this one. Crutomore. Everything else looks like bots, so I won't be able to accept those. My lighting looks way off. I look a weird color. It's not pale, it's not tan. It might just be the lighting with like my screens and everything, but that's what it is. So before we really start diving deep into like what I think is going to happen next on Bitcoin, which it's kind of up in the air. I'm not too sure what's going to happen here. The only correct way to play this kind of pattern, it is looking like it wants to be an ascending wedge, which would typically be bearish. We already have a head and shoulders pattern, double top, which would give me the impression that we're at least going to go down to the middle 400s, 8,450, around that range. So that's what I am hoping for. So I do have a short open. My stop loss is right above this. Now, my only worry with that stop loss is that this yellow diagonal here, which is a Gann fan coming down from this region over here, that was something that held us down right here, as well as up here. I don't have an exact where it should be, but you can basically make the judgment that this is going to be holding us down. So that's why I think that we need to drop down, slide over a little bit before we do have another push to the upside, eventually coming up to test this particular resistance right here. Now that resistance is the one that held us down. You can see right here I have kind of all the major supports and major resistances marked out. The major resistance that we're going to have trouble getting through at first, well, it might be a breeze depending on what happens, but this one right here, the 4-to-1 Gann fan, that is going to be particularly a good resistance to short. Once we do get around to that, it could be anywhere between 9,150 to 9,200. But I will have plans on shorting that in terms of the macro. And I probably would be looking for it to return back to 8,300, even lower, back down to the 0.618. Hopefully forming a shoulder like we've been talking about over here. That is my hope for it. Now, one of my greatest trades at the moment that are really picking up is Monero. So I bought Monero back on this double bottom right here, and I put $40,000 into it, and it is already doing absolutely fantastic. Already up 50%. And that's just one of my buy and hold coins. I'm not necessarily trading it on a daily. But, I mean, look at this chart right here. I mean, you can't deny this. We have a macro double bottom. It turns all of this into a new target. So, I mean, even from where we're sitting currently, that is still almost 600% away. So, I have high hopes for Monero right now. Obviously, that's, you know, about a year away before we even get to that. But it is something to maybe pick up if you don't have some. What are my thoughts on BTC? So we're putting in a little bit of a pendant formation slash ascending triangle slash ascending wedge, depending on how you look at this. Now on the 1 hour, when we dropped last night, I did have a short from here. I took some profits on that because the 1 hour did get a bounce off the 50. So that was my early warning sign that we could find some potential support, have another retest to the upside. But we do have a lot of resistance to fight through right now. In terms of, if I go to a 15-minute chart, And see, the 15-minute chart is getting held down by a diagonal resistance. So my hope is that it continues to follow this resistance and eventually breaks to the 50, and hopefully breaks this support right here. Coming down, I would expect anywhere between 8,500 to even around 8,352. That would make a lot of sense to me. It would allow us to come down. It might not be in one straight shot, but it would definitely be over the course of a couple hours. The further we can move towards the right and do it slowly and steadily and let some of that bullish divergence form along with it, the better, because we do need to let some of the higher time frames cool off, such as the daily RSI. The daily RSI is not looking too tough right now. We could have another potential test to the upside, get rejected around 9,200, and then officially start putting in a downtrend on the daily. That is what I'm looking at, but we are starting to print our first red candle after this. It does look kind of like a doji, so there's a lot of indecision right now. Everybody's looking at the weekly chart. That's what you see on a lot of these YouTube channels. I've done it myself. So people are just getting their entries in. They're trying to DCA. But I do believe this needs to come back down a little bit. And like I said, I do need to see over the next month us form a pattern and hopefully put in that head and shoulders pattern, turning everything from $14,000 down into a new potential target. That's what we need to see in order for Bitcoin to really blast off. Hey, we out here short, gang. Yep, I am short right now. You can see that on the 3-hour. Money flow is just on a straight decline. 2-hour, money flow is starting to turn back around again. We got a lot of bearishly diverging indicators. Right here, that was bearishly diverging for quite a while. We are building some hidden bullish divergence. So when this does break down, I would probably expect another explosive bounce to come out of it. There's no way around that hidden bullish divergence. Let's see. Let's go back down to a 30-minute, because that's what I'm really tracking here. I just am hoping for a breakout down to around 8,507. That would be pretty good. I got my average entry to around, let's see, start here. Come on. 8,780. So I took a couple DCAs along the way, but if that does come through, we will be looking at about, I'm on a 6.5x, so about 20% or so. That's not too bad. Definitely with the DCAs, I'm comfortable with taking 20%, because that would probably be equivalent to probably like 35 to 40% on my typical plays in terms of dollar value. So that's a good thing there. No, why short? Let's move. You have to do these things healthy, okay? If we're just going on a straight shot up and we're not coming over or letting the daily RSI come out and, come down and test the 50 at least, you are shooting yourself in the foot, because yes, we will moon, but it will come down and it will come back down violently and you won't see it coming. If you're constantly wanting the price action to continuously go up, go up, go up, go up, and have no retests of previous resistance and confirm it as support, you are going to be shooting yourself in the foot in the long run. It's basically almost the same as a CME gap. You want these previous resistances to be retested in order for us to continue on upwards and do it effectively over the course of a period of time. We'll definitely get much greater targets if we do it this way. It will allow a lot of higher time frames to come down in between each run up and just allow us to really, really reach what we can potentially do rather than just pumping the price. So definitely, just because we're coming down a little bit isn't a bad thing. You should view it as a good thing, because then you can short, get a little bit more BTC, so that when we do have an actual up run, it's better. So I was wondering if everyone just knows what's coming and doesn't want to long right now. We're almost to a very huge macro resistance. So either way you put this, I don't think we're going to be going past 9,200. Not for a little bit. I would suspect maybe we could try to do it somewhere around, let me go out to a 3-hour chart here. Maybe we can do it somewhere around the 2nd of February. That would make sense to me. Fish, what are you doing? No. Get off of this shoe. Absolutely not. He's tearing up some slippers. Yeah, I wanted to get on a little bit early for people that are in other countries, and I had pretty much nothing to do, so I just wanted to hop on and see you guys. He just doesn't get it the first time. Made about 15% off of the short last night. It was a pretty good little tick down. And like I said, I saw that 1 hour start to get a bounce at the 50. That was my early warning sign, along with the 15-minute start to bullishly diverge. You can see right here, we start really getting a up run on the RSI, but nothing is really happening. That was my other indication that we were going to have another pop to the upside. So I didn't necessarily take advantage of that because I wasn't sure if we would go, you know, just to 80, 87, 37, or even very back up to the top. So I would rather wait for my short on that. But we're starting to bearishly diverge here. Good sign. Money flow coming back down. We do have a little bit of exaggerated bearish divergence along with a bearish divergence on the 15-minute. So we should see some sort of action coming down. I guess I missed what you just told. Going down, it's crazy what the market is doing lately. I don't think so. A lot of people... See, the problem with Bitcoin is people get used to... How do I say this? Not healthy market actions. It is completely and absolutely what you want to see is what's happening right now, okay? You do not want to see stuff like this. Because what does that mean? You're just building up a lot of bearish divergence and you're going to come right back down, no matter if you have a bullish pattern. But if you are making a staircase upwards and retesting previous resistance and confirming it as support, you are doing a healthy up run. It takes a little bit longer, but it is definitely healthier and has a higher chance of succeeding and continuing, rather than a straight up shot that gets rejected out of resistance, has massive bearish divergence on it. So you can't really fight that. There's no way to go back up from that. So what we are doing right now is absolutely what you want to see. So do I want to see it come back down? Yes. That way we can test previous resistance, confirm it as support, let the higher end RSIs cool off, come over a little bit, and then we test the 50, get a bounce around there, and then we can continue this ship on upwards. Otherwise, there is going to be a failing point. So definitely just chillax, enjoy the price action. Just know that Bitcoin is bullish right now. So definitely be looking at a little bit more longs than shorts. But it's awesome, man. And like I said, definitely pick up some Monero, guys. I have never seen a more clear buy in my life than Monero right now. You can see we have a macro double bottom head and shoulders pattern. All of this now gets turned into a target. So even from where we're sitting, that is 600% away. I got it right here as it touched this bottom. So I am very excited for what the future holds for Monero. And if for whatever reason we do break out above the 1 in the next bull market, we could see almost 3,000% on the 1.272. If it does get to the 1.618, which I highly doubt, I would probably be looking at the 1.272 as my official target. That is 11,000% away from where I just bought it. And I put $40,000 into it, so I would be very, very happy. Monero is not available on Coinbase. You can buy Bitcoin on Coinbase or whatever your preferred exchange is, transfer it over to Binance, and Binance has Monero on there. The ticker for it is XMR. And Monero, if you don't know what it is, it's basically another version of Cardano. But Cardano has not seen major use case. XMR, Monero, has. Whether you support the darknet market or not, the fact is Bitcoin got its popularity on the darknet market, and I think Monero will too. A lot of websites are starting to transfer over to that as a means of transaction, and that means you don't have to worry about a lot of the fundamentals. Since it is being used as a currency for goods, it's not necessarily based on technology or anything like that or news. It is based on how many people are using it and how many people are buying it up. So as that gets more and more popular, I definitely think that is going to be a high value asset moving on in the future because of its ability to be private. It's basically what Verge did, where you can tick on a check mark and say, this is a private transaction, it cannot be tracked. You can do the same exact thing with Monero. Have you seen Dash today? Crazy glad I have not seen Dash. I have been hearing all about it. So let me go look at this chart real quick and just get jealous. I almost just threw up. Wow. I wish I would have bought Dash. Oh my god. Dash is on an absolute uprun. I would be expecting this to be shortly lived though. If I could short Dash right now, I probably would. Especially with you coming up on this piece of price action right here. There is a diagonal that I can kind of see that this is what it pretty much got tapped off of. So if I could short that, I definitely would. But I don't think it's a good buying point right now. Tom, what's up, buddy? Great to see you too, bud. Fish. Go lay down. Fish is so squishy. But yeah, man, I'm ranting and raving about this Monero chart. Go back to BTC. Take a look at that. Go out to a 30-minute chart. But I really want to see, for us to start coming back down, I want to see the RSI cross down below the 50. And then probably get a bounce somewhere around here and then come back up and then get rejected. That would be my early warning sign that this will actually break out to the downside. And I could kind of breathe easy after that. Otherwise, you know, even though you get better and better at trading and better at kind of fighting those feelings of fear or greed, they're always there. And it's just about learning how to manage through them. And typically, once I see something happen on my indicators, that tells me, hey, there's some upside to this trade you're in. Then I can go, oh, everything is good. Everything is fine in the world. David, what's going on, man? Hey, brother, more juice headed away. I just finished the build out on my warehouse, so I've been super busy. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Are you going to use a bot to trade? I've never been a bot person. Like, whenever I make a trade, I want to be the one to make the trade. It makes me feel better when I win. Makes me get better when I lose. So I'd rather be the one making the trades rather than just leave it up to a bot and make medial gains over a long period of time. I know it's a very easy way of doing things, and I'm not shaming anybody that does bots. It's just me personally. Obviously I don't have the know-how to get it set up. I did have a call with Crypto Gnome back in the day, a couple months ago, and he explained it to me. I got the gist of it. I just never really pursued it. Mr. Win, what's up, buddy? Hey, Kite, why didn't you draw your fans for the small local range we're forming? I think we're very, very close to the swing top, especially with us coming up towards this Gann fan right here. Fish is just getting into everything tonight. So I definitely want to wait for the next swing low before I really start putting Gann fans down. It just doesn't really make sense, especially with a lot of these higher end time frames really guiding the way. So I don't really need it. A guy told me yesterday to just trust my indicators like pilots do. Being a flight sim fan, I caught the analogy real fast. It really helps settle my temper. Trust the instruments, trust the indicators. Yes, you should trust your indicators. They are right, and as long as you know how to read them correctly, you will make good decisions. But I teach a different type of style. I rather you know completely everything there is to know about support and resistance and making judgments based off of that, because at the end of the day, the only thing that is live is price action and support and resistance. That's the only thing that's a constant. Your indicators will always be lagging a couple steps behind. And if you're waiting for indicators to give you your exact entry, you might be a couple percent away from your stop loss. And if you're a couple percent away from your stop loss, that means you have to use lower leverage, which means you won't make as much money. So the better your entry, the better your stop loss, the higher the leverage, the more money. But obviously I do use my indicators just as effectively. Usually the RSI is the indicator that leads the way for me pretty much 90% of the time. I'll use the MACD for divergences as well. And then the money flow just gives me a general trend. What are we doing on a macro term? What's your long/short target? Okay, so if we do break out to the upside, I wouldn't expect anything more than this Gann fan here at about 9,250. If we broke out to the downside, I would probably be expecting to find support either at 8,450 or come down a little bit lower. It could even come down to this bottom resistance here, which would be confirmed as support, hopefully, around 8,138. If we go ahead and get some fib retracements on this, I would probably expect the 0.5 to be tested. So yeah, about 8,250 would probably be my target coming out of this. That would be a good point to retest and get a bounce from there. True Kite, I've been working on that currently. I'm trading off indicators, just letting them ride. Market cipher. What usually makes me miss best entries and exits, but feels safe and like. Yeah, indicators are a good stepping stone, but definitely if you're going to be trading long term, the objective is to make the most out of every single trade. And like I said, the only way to do that is to learn support and resistance well and use it effectively and make good risk to reward decisions. That might not always work out, but it will definitely make sure that the ones that you do hit are monumental and add a lot to your portfolio so that it makes up for everything that you do not make on certain trades. What do you think about Craig Wright drama? I don't even care. Like I'm not coming at you, but I don't even care about Bitcoin drama. None of it affects the charts. All it does is affect your decisions and your thought process. Get rid of all Bitcoin news. The only thing you want to know is updates to the code and what is the chart saying. That is the only thing you should ever be looking at in Bitcoin. Do not get caught up in Bitcoin drama. Do not get caught up in shitcoin scams. Keep your eyes on your own chart and you'll have a better time. Otherwise, there's always going to be some news like Trump wants to ban Bitcoin. How are they going to do that? It's virtually impossible. All it does is make you rethink your decision to buy Bitcoin at that moment in time. And maybe that is what the news article is trying to do. But it's up to you to say, that's bullshit, and then just walk away. Do you have a video about how to draw these Gann fans? I do. If you look up how to set up Gann fans on YouTube, I should be the first video technically, from what I've seen. And it does need a little bit of updating, so I might put out a new video because I do not have the instructions on how to readjust your Gann fans to make them more accurate as price action moves. Because when you first set them up on a certain piece of price action, it's going to be an estimate. It's not going to be exactly right. But as you start to see confluence with certain, levels or anything like that, then you need to readjust your Gann fans to fit accordingly. You might say, well, what's the point of that? You're just making it fit your ideas. I'm making it fit price action so that it's more accurate over time until the pattern is broken. If I can do that halfway through the pattern, I'm going to do it. If it's 75% into the pattern, I want to make sure I have everything down to the last detail, making sure that is correct so that I can make the best decisions possible. I want to join you, Kite team. Would 500 USD be enough to get started with trading, or do you have a number? It is all dependent on what you're trying to get out of trading. If you're trying to make trading a retirement thing or something you can live off for the rest of your life and make a monthly wage with it, you're definitely going to need a little bit more money. I would say starting with $5,000 to $10,000 and giving it 1 to 2 years throughout the bull market, letting that accumulate, starting to get better with trading with it. By the end of it all, you could have somewhere between $100,000 to $200,000 if you played it out correctly. And then on the next bull market, obviously you would keep the majority of it in cash while it's in the bear market, but trading it along the way to accumulate. You could easily, the next following bull run or range that we're in, you could definitely make that into a living wage over time, because 5% on a swing trade of a $200,000 portfolio is $5,000, I believe. Might be 10,000. I'm not sure. Whatever that is. But on that, you could make $10,000 every 7 to 14 days. So that is definitely something that you would probably be looking at. $500, you're looking at a more long-term plan. You're looking 5 to 10 years. If you want to turn $500 into something that is sustainable, it is going to take 5 to 10 years. Obviously, you probably have a full-time job where you can add slowly to your portfolio, but just get started with $500. That's completely doable. I would say by the end of the bull market, you could be anywhere in the double-digit thousands. I would not go as far as saying $100,000 to $200,000. That's just kind of out there. But I would definitely say if you're starting with $500 and you can add like maybe $100 every 2 weeks or $100 every week, by the end of all this, you could have between $20,000 to $30,000 depending on how you play it, and what assets you divide your portfolio into. So, why are you telling people to start trading with 10K? Everyone loses money at the start. I'm not saying use all of your money. I'm just saying if you want to make trading a full-time job where you can sustain yourself off of it, you need a portfolio of at least 5 to 10K. Now, obviously, the first couple of months as you're learning, do not use 5 to 2% of 10K. Take about $100 or even use a testnet account. Obviously, that comes with things that I would obviously tell somebody. I'm not just saying, oh, if you have $100,000 and you don't have a lick of knowledge about trading, go ahead, throw your money at it. That would be asinine.
Remember, it was changed. I've been placing bets where the rest are placing blame. Got an app for private jets just in case I need a plane. And a lawyer riding with us if we need something explained. Keep them on retainer. You
can always start training yourself using testnet. Definitely. It's a little bit lagging, but I think that trade-off and being able to use the platform, get used to it, all that kind of stuff is definitely worth it, even with the lagging aspect of it. What do you think about Bitcoin SV? It has been pumping. I haven't given it any credence. A lot of these coins that you guys throw my way, some of them I haven't even heard of or even looked at a chart once in my life. I look at coins that I have specifically seen be used, like Monero, coins that have a track history, like Ethereum, that have a specific purpose, and obviously Bitcoin being the big daddy of them all. I don't think this is going anywhere. A lot of people are always like, well, Bitcoin it's gonna eventually disappear and it's trash and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, we are already 10 years into, blockchain technology and using these cryptocurrencies. If that would have happened, I think it would have happened by now. definitely, you know, I can't say anything about 50 years in the future what we'll be using, whether it will be Bitcoin or something else, but I definitely think that Bitcoin is going to be sticking around for a very long time. Uh, Join Patreon, cancel, and contact you on Discord, lifetime membership, and Telegram. Yeah, so I set it up so that whenever you buy a tier on Patreon, it will automatically charge you. So if you are buying the one-on-one package, just go ahead, buy it, and then go ahead and cancel it after that. And then go ahead, shoot me a Discord message. I will check my Patreon for that payment and match it up with your Patreon name. And then from there, I'll send the links to Discord and Telegram, and we'll schedule your first one-on-one session if that is something you wanted to do. Crypto Trucker, what's up, buddy? JJ, what's up, man? You sent me a trade via Discord. Okay, so you're in a long. Entry was $8,443. You're up 29%. So I would probably just move your stop loss to about, I would say, 8,641 below this support. But if you did want to keep your long open, there is a small chance that we do find support on some of these lower end indicators, like the 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute hourly. But the daily does want to come back down, but there might be a little bit more juice left in it for it to come up and test 9,251. So it's depending on how you want to play it. Obviously move your stop loss, make sure it's in profit, but there is a small chance we have some more upside. Have you been learning more about Gann, LOL? No, I feel like I've learned everything that is useful to me. Obviously, there is the whole aspect of the astrology and the trajectory of Jupiter from the sun to the earth. I don't think I'll ever get into that. That's just not something that interests me. And obviously, he made a lot of money. He was very popular. Nobody quite got him, and it would be cool to learn that, but don't think it's necessary. I'm already making a lot of money, and things are going good, so I don't think I need to change anything up. Right, I've been trying to master 15-30 hourly time frame. Still having trouble limiting in, limiting out. Any suggestions on tips for that? You're doing the correct thing by picking a couple different time frames and getting used to them. The longer you spend with a certain time set of time frames, like for me, it's 2-hour, hourly, 30-minute, 15-minute. It gets you better and better at reading the candles, the price action, getting used to how big the patterns are, everything like that. Limiting in and limiting out is just simply paying attention to what is your most important resistance or support at any given point in time. And then you put your limit short or limit long right on that support or resistance, wait for it to get hit, put your stop loss in, let the trade go through. Once you return back down to support, limit out. All is well and good. And the only time you should ever be using market is when you have a breakout of a pattern, because obviously you're not going to be able to get a limit order filled. The chances of that are very slim. So you do want to go ahead, mark it in, and it's a little bit of fees to pay, but it's not going to hurt you. As long as you're not over trading with market in, market out, it's a helpful thing. But if you're constantly marketing in, marketing out for no reason, and you're doing 1,000 different trades a day, that is what eats up your portfolio. Do you do Litecoin? I do not. What the hell happened to my face? Let's fix this. What happened? I swear I'm not this white. Fish. No. You are okay. Backlight pump. Turn that off. white balance. I think it has something to do with. I am so confused.
You spent the night the other day, so many things I could say. Instead I just shy away and I choke. And I'm supposed to be a poet, so open with my emotions, and all I can ask about is your toast. I guess I'm glad you didn't leave, cause you make me a better me. You see the mark no one sees when I'm low. So I know you see the hurt.
Oh, I think that's something to do with my exposure. Okay, that looks halfway decent. I don't know how that happened. Man, you KKK white. Yeah, it was Fish's fault. What is going on, man? Why are you so antsy right now? What is going on? You just went to the bathroom before the stream. You had Chick-fil-A today? What's going on? Why are you crying? Why are you crying? He's such a baby. He's such a baby. John, what's up, buddy? Have you ever tried a line chart? I tried it yesterday to draw support and resistance, and was pretty easy to see. What do you mean by a line chart? Do you mean like going through and fish? Absolutely not. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Absolutely not. If you want to come lay down on the couch, you can do that. But you're not going to stand right there and cry. No reason for it. Absolutely none. SQZ Mom? I have not heard of that. Bro, had an absolutely terrible day of trading today. Accidentally set up my damn stop loss too high and missed the huge pump earlier. I have a lot of ground to make up. It happens sometimes, man. It definitely happens. Yeah, I used lines sometimes back in the day. It's pretty cool for finding, it makes the patterns easier to see, kinda. So I do like that, but it's not my preferred way of doing things. Go lay down on the couch. Get up here. Sit. Sit. Good boy. Stay. Be a good dog. Mrs. G, what's going on? Thoughts on Bit 7? Is that an exchange? I have no clue what that is. At Kite, I could also close my position and re-enter along with the stop loss at 8,650. You can do that as well. That is a good, if you want to continue with the long, I'm not saying that's the wrong decision. There definitely is the potential for it. But as of right now, we are getting held down on our resistance, on our RSI. We are bearishly diverging. So I am leaning a little bit more towards the downside, as well as money flow leaving the market. And we do have bearish divergence on some of our MACD indicators, as well as the daily just needs to cool off. So it might have a little bit more juice to go to the upside, but I'm definitely leaning towards the downside right now. So just my opinion, but however you want to play it, as long as you have a good stop loss, good entry, thumbs up, man. Hey man, are you open for whatever right now, or are you on a path? No, we're just talking about price action, answering questions as we go. So just wondering if you could draw a fib real quick on the 5-minute. I want to make sure I'm doing it right. Okay, so it's going to be a little bit hard because we don't have a swing low yet. You could technically say that this is the breakout and this was the swing low. We'll go with it, but I'm not saying that this is technically correct. Okay, so we're going to clean this up a little bit. Turn back on our chart here. And this is how I would start my Ganns if I was to do this. Okay. So we have a breakout, we have a top, and then we have a swing low. So your starting points would be this high here and this low here. So just forget that any of this price action exists. Okay. So what you want to do, you want to get a 45-degree angle. Go ahead, go to that high, put a 45. Make sure you find the intersection between your high and low. Put in another 45. Put in your Gann fans here. And that actually looks pretty accurate to me. So there you go. And then obviously, if you want to put in your fib retracements, if you want to look at this as a bullish pattern or maybe a bullish pendant, you would go from the upside to the downside. And that would put your 1.618 at 9,131. That should be your target to take profit if we do break out to the upside. But I am personally expecting a break to the downside, so I would probably view this like this. That would put my 1.618 at 8,337, which, what did we say? I was expecting for us to come back down and test the 0.5. The 0.5 is at $8,451. So works out perfectly. Actually, no, I need to do that from right here from the absolute bottom. So that would put our swing, I would put our 0.5 at 8,261. So if we do break out to the downside, I'll probably be taking my profit at 8,350. But that's how you would set that up, buddy. We'll leave that there just in case. We'll see how it goes. Hey Kite, I am currently short at 8,800. What DCA targets do you recommend? As of right now, we are sitting at the 8-to-1 Gann fan. So the only other point that you should be DCAing at is the one fib retracement here at 8,899. But you should have your stop loss above this at about 8,946. If that does get stopped out and we do break 8,946, I would assume that this would actually keep us down, but just with the momentum we have here, I would probably be aiming for about 9,243. So from that stop loss to where we should be going, you have about 3%. So you could take a market long and make up for that stop loss if you do get stopped out. I'm sure let's test that out. Go ahead, draw up our fib retracements. And can I flip them? How do I flip them? Reverse. Yeah, that you can reverse them just by doing that as well. So we're actually going to thin these out and make them white so they are easier to see. And then we'll go down to a 15-minute chart so it's easier to see as well. So, like I was saying, on your Gann fans, you want to see confluence with the Gann fans and fib retracement. So right here, you can see that this was acting as resistance. It built in. Oh, I just totaled my keyboard. It built a little bit of a descending triangle. And descending triangles that come from downwards price action tend to actually break out to the upside. So right here, descending triangle. You can see right here, this was acting as support. This was acting as support right here for a good while. So we're seeing a lot of confluence with the Gann fans, which is a good sign. And it's very hard to see that if you are working on smaller time frames. And like I was saying, readjusting your Gann fans is a must. So like right here, when I first set up these Gann fans, my 2-to-1 Gann fan was cutting all of these candles in half. So I had to zoom in or zoom out a little bit, readjust my 1-to-1 Gann fan with that 45-degree angle until it lined up perfectly. You can see that this was acting as support. This was acting as support. This was a resistance. And this is also a resistance. So right now, our main resistance that we have to get through is the 4-to-1 Gann fan. After that, it will be the 0.786 along with the 8-to-1 Gann fan. But if we can break those two, it gets really bullish really fast. And if we break the one, we would be going up to our next fib retracement, which would be around our all-time high of $19,000. So it's looking good. It's looking good. Let's look at the 5-minute RSI. 5-minute RSI. It's getting pushed past the 50 again. We gotta go back to the 15-minute for those to show up, though. We got another bounce off the 50, which is not what I wanted to see, but we could come back up, get rejected off of this, and just continue sideways for a little bit longer before we have a breakdown to, you know, maybe the 8-to-1 Gann fan or a breakdown to the 1.618. Latin Crypto, what's up, buddy? Did I miss any questions? Oh, I'll check out that squeeze mom indicator that you were talking about. Squeeze mom. Is that how you spell it? Oh, Saz mom. No, not that. Okay. Squeeze mom. Is it this one right here? MacD Mom Squeeze? God, it keeps bringing me to my tickers. Is it by Squeeze Mom? I'm not finding it. God, why does it keep doing that? I'm having a hard time seeing my screen, guys, because these lights are extra bright. Are you talking about this right here? Squeeze Momentum Indicator by Lazy Bear? Because that is essentially a market cipher beat. I know before anybody jumps on me, Lazy Bear came out before market cipher beat. I know. You make them into blue waves. It's essentially the same thing as MACD, but in a different way. I like the MACD momentum waves because I find whenever I have a divergence on my MACD, it works out 9 times out of 10. When I'm using Market Cipher B, you'll have multiple divergences on the same wave, and sometimes they don't tend to work out as effectively in terms of percentage moves. But Market Cipher B, I know when I see a divergence, it will have a pretty good effect on price action. My HODL coins right now are Ethereum, Basic Attention Token, and Monero. Hey, fish? No. No. Absolutely not. He is being a bad dog tonight. I don't know what's up. But Monero, I have never seen a more clear buy in my life. We are going to have to cool off on the daily, just like we are going to have to on Bitcoin. So we should fall back down a little bit. But with this double bottom head and shoulders pattern, this all gets turned into a target. And let's say we fall back down to $55, which is where I'm looking. If you buy it there and hold on to it, you have about 750% till we get to our all-time high. And I do think we could reach the 1.272 in the next bull market. And that is 2,200% away. So, very nice. I don't know too much about EOS. I don't know much about the project or the team. So I really can't give you a definitive answer on that. I find a couple coins that I like that I can easily track. I am not trying to divvy up my portfolio between 1,000 different coins. So I'll find like 4 to 5 that I really believe in, and then I'll just stick to those. Hey, fish. Go lay down, buddy. Go lay down. Get up here. Up here. Sit. 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 Okay. Let me see if there's some way to get this so that I don't have to have these so bright. Okay. That's easy on the eyes right there. So if I can get the green screen to work with that right there. Configure video. Pop this up. Okay, that's a lot easier on the eyes. Okay, cool. And because of the way I process my audio, I have to delay the video so that it matches up with the audio. So if someone could tell me if it looks right or not, that would definitely help out. So like if I clap, what comes first? Does the video come first, or does the sound come first? Or does it look perfect? Oh, I don't even know what song's playing. Oh, it's Khan. Okay. As long as it's like pretty good, I'm fine. I'm not trying to get it perfect, but I know that can be annoying to some people where my mouth is not matching up with my words. And they're like, Kite is fake. It's all dubbed over. It's not even him. He just hires an actor and just plays his sound over it. That's my sad playlist. Disney gonna take you down again? Bro, do you think Chinese New Year is gonna do anything this time? I don't know. I don't know what it did last year. I don't want to make any rash judgments, and it's like, well, everybody's getting red envelopes, so they're gonna put all their money into Bitcoin because they're all smart. Hopefully that's what they do, but I can't say for certain. I just focus on my indicators, I focus on my charts, I focus on my patterns. I'm not too stressed out about, oh, we're gonna have a Christmas dump or anything like that. I just play it by ear. What does the chart tell me? All right, so we're no longer at negative 8%. We are now at negative 2.7. So we're almost back in profit. I'm happy. And now that this 15-minute is starting to get pushed past, we do have, if we can break this line of support right here that we're currently sitting at, that's our first good sign that this is actually going to start breaking down, at least to the 8-to-1 Gann fan or the 1 fib retracement. Even then, I would be happy with it. But I would really want to see it break this and then come back up and retest the 50 and then get rejected. That would be the early warning sign that it's not only just going to fall back down to the 8-to-1 Gann fan or the 1 fib retracement, but as you know, actually break out of that and go down to the 1.618 near 8,360. Yes, I am in a short right now. We have a bearishly diverging RSI. We have bearish divergence on our MACD. And the daily RSI, it needs to cool off. We cannot continue pumping until that is allowed to come back down and at least test the 50. Until then, we will not see any major mooning. We really need to let Bitcoin rest and take its time. Even sideways movement, I'm fine with. I don't necessarily need it to come all the way back down to 8,360, but sideways movement will work just as well. How do you split your indicator so it's in its own window? So what I do is I go over here to the three chart setup. I go 1 vertical and 2 horizontals on the right. And then you can also have it 2 horizontals on the left and then vertical on the right. And then when you open it up, it's going to look like this. It's going to look like this. It's going to have charts, but if you just double click on the indicators and the blank space, it will maximize them and you'll get a higher resolution of those indicators. It definitely helps with stuff like money flow and RSI. Getting the support and resistance off of it definitely does help out. We're actually going to switch back to regular candles here so I can get better live price action. Oh, it's not switching on that one. It's switching on that one. Okay. Enter a short now, or will it be too late? You would really want to catch the top at the 8-to-1 Gann fan or the 1 fib retracement or 0 fib retracement the way I got it set up. Right now we're at the 0.5, so we definitely could get a bounce at the 0.5, come back up and retest one of these Gann fans before we actually shoot down to the 8-to-1 Gann fan. So I would probably just hold off and wait if you don't have a position already. It's just not going to be a good idea. Hey. Check I know the monthly doesn't look that satisfying, but you have to remember that is going to take a much longer time to catch up. And I do think that the weekly would be a better indication of everything. The weekly is absolutely fantastic. We have hidden bullish divergence, money flow starting to cut into the green. We're starting to come up and test the 50. So weekly is definitely looking very good on Bitcoin. The monthly, I think it's just going to have to take some time to catch up. Fish, stop, buddy. So we're either going to come down to the 8-to-1 Gann fan or the 1 fib retracement and get a bounce there. I would be looking at your lower time frames, look for oversold bounces, look at your 1 hour to 2 hour to see if it gets a bounce off the 50. And that would be an indication that we're going to be holding the pattern for a little bit longer. But if we do happen to get rejected at the 50, or after that small bounce, we get some overbought bounces on like the 5-minute, 15-minute, that would give me the indication that we're going to start heading down towards the 1.618, around $8,344. Bounce. Fish, what are you doing? Stop, buddy. What time frame are you looking at on your screen so I can follow along? I'm looking at the 15-minute as of right now. Like I said, JJ, it's all up to you, man. This is just my personal opinion on what I think could happen. If you want to play this to the long side, if you have a good entry and you have a good stop loss, it's a good risk to reward, but it just might not work out. Obviously, if you did enter another long position up here, I wouldn't start DCing just yet, but when we get down towards the 8-to-1 Gann fan and the 1 fib retracement, if you want to put in a DCA, that is totally up to you. That would be safe to do, and it could drag your entry to around the 0.5. And if we do get a bounce and break out to the upside, it would definitely be more beneficial that way. Is that a mask? Wait, did the camera do it again? What the hell? What is going on? Why is it doing this? Like, I'm not touching anything. Maybe it's because I have my G hub. Disable this device. Configure video. We're going to go down a couple notches. We're going to refocus this. And then white balance, turn that up a little bit. Okay, it should look better. Fish! Stop, buddy. I get mad at myself when I say fish too often. Like, there will be times where, like, I am just in, like, I'm taking fish outside, and I'll be like, fish, lay down, buddy. Because I say that to him probably 1,000 times a day. Because he's just so high and full of energy. And then, like, I'll go and I'll play with him for a little bit, for like an hour. And I'll play the game, I'm Gonna Get Ya, where I literally just go like this. And I walk towards him, and he goes absolutely ballistic. And then I'll try to get all of his energy out that way. And it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Can we see Fish? I miss him. Fish, come here. Come here. Come here. You can get over here. Just walk around it. Get over here, Fish. I demand it. Oh my God, you're such a baby. You can walk around it. You are not that big. Just walk around it. Just walk around it. Come around this side. Come this side. Come this side, Fish. Come on this side. Oh my God, Fish. Really? Oh my God. Okay. Get up here, you little dog. Here is the man, the myth, the legend. He said snort. Hello. Hold on, I gotta zoom in the camera. I forgot to do that when it got reset. Fish. Just because someone opens the door does not mean you lose your mind. Right now. Fish, look at me. It is just a person. It is just a person. Look at the Bitcoin charts. Is this what you wanted? Is this what you wanted, Fish? Do you want to do my Bitcoin trading for me? Because I will let you. I will let you do it. You're getting hair all over me. He smells good at least. I gave him the bath the other day. Put some shampoo and conditioner on that dog. So he's smelling good and he's soft. Fish is calling the trades. I'm just a puppet. Yeah, pretty much. Let's see. What's your target for this move, Kite? I would expect it to fall down to the 8-1 conf, and like I said, when it does get down to that, make sure you're checking your indicators, making sure that we see rejections at the 50. And if you see rejections at the 50 on the RSI, that is an early warning sign that we will break out to the downside and find support anywhere between the 1.272 and the 1.618. I would be aiming, if we do break this one fib retracement, I would be aiming for the 1.618 at $8,349. I think that is a very good target to hit. From there, we could get a bounce. It would definitely be a good thing. And you can see that that kind of lines up with this previous support right here. Fish. Lay down, buddy. I'll be right back. I'm going to go see if my roommate wants to take care of Fish for a little bit while we finish up the stream. I'll be right back because he is just, he's getting into everything. Because when I have to set up the green screen and stuff, I have to move stuff around to make it work. And he just doesn't like it. So he starts getting pissy. I'll be right back. Okay, the child is gone. No, it's not a bad fishy. He just gets upset. And then he cries. Let's see, Bubble Boy. Hey coach, I just joined through Patreon. Awesome. Okay, let me just verify on Patreon real quick and then I will send those links to you. Thank you so much, buddy. Your Rottweiler likes TED Talks. Let's see. Alrighty. Let me get those to you real quick, Bubble Boy. Telegram. Now, the Telegram has two separate groups. It has a general chat and it has a chat strictly for my calls. I'm pretty sure you can join the general chat from the invite to just my channel. But if not, let me know and I will send that along with it. There we go. As soon as the stream's done, we'll get more into when we want to set up that first session for you, buddy. So right now you decided you're short. Is it based on the bearish divergence on the MACD? So I took my short off of the resistance up here. I saw that we were bearishly diverging on the RSI on the hourly. You can see that we've been going up, but the RSI has been going down. It's been holding this resistance. Once we got the bounce off the 50 there, I took some profits on that short. And then once we started coming back up towards this resistance, I started DCAing some more shorts on top of it, just to kind of rebuild my position up there. And then as well as that, on the 30-minute, we have a straight decline on the money flow. We have a bearish divergence on the MACD right here to this wave to this wave. So we got a lot of bearish divergence as well. But what I'm really waiting to see, specifically probably on like the 15-minute, I want to see the 15-minute come down, get a bounce, come back up, and then get rejected at the 50 and then fall back down. That would be my early warning sign that we will really actually be going down towards 1.272, 1.414, or the 1.618. Yeah, like I was saying, that we need the daily and the 12-hour to come back down and test the 50. And the only way we can do that is to either have a slight drop and then sideways movement, or a drop back down to the lower 8,000s. But either way it works out, all we need is for this 12-hour or the daily to come back down, test the 50, and then we'll see a bounce there, hopefully. Probably not the first bounce we will see upside action on. Like I said, I want to see a pattern that is approximately the size of this right here. So about 33 days from here, before we actually break out to the upside, because then that would look like a head and shoulders pattern that would give all of this into a new target, and we could just follow this up channel on our macros for the next bull run. And as we get further into it, it does expand, so it gives us much more room to work with before we would fall out of that. And that lines up perfectly as well with this parabolic support right here. So I mean, everything's just adding up. That's why I do think that we are very, very close to the bottom. I know Mrs. G doesn't want to hear that, but I'm just looking at what's happening. I'm noticing what's happening and making plans for it. Obviously, if things looked a lot more bearish and we didn't have these indications, I'd be looking at this in a totally different aspect. Now, obviously, if certain supports get broken, I have to change my view. That's just trading. But until that happens, we're bullish right now. Even though we're coming back down and testing previous resistance and confirming it as support, that is still a bullish thing long term, and is more bullish than just a straight 40% pump. What's up, man? I didn't see that when you were on earlier. Short is looking good. Definitely, man. Hopefully, it does break past this 0.5 and continue on down towards the 8-to-1 Gann fan, which from there, probably a slight bounce, but I would be hoping for a rejection at the 50. And after that, we're golden. From that point here, it would be about 4.38% away. So, very, very good. I'm currently in a short right now. How could you explain how to take some profit off a short compared to closing it completely? In order to do that, all you got to do is go to, like on Bybit, you'll see a limit close and a market close. If you hit on limit, you'll have the option to put in a custom amount, or you can do 1/4 1/2 or 3/4, I think, or all of it. And then you can close out a position as you do that, rather than just closing it all at one time. And that way, you know, throughout a trade, you can close out some of your profits and then DCA in later, like I did yesterday. Yesterday, I got my entry to right about here. When we came back down, I took some profits on it. When we came back up, I didn't necessarily exit that short. So I started DCAing shorts here, DCA to short here, so I can get my positions back up. Yeah, you can also do, you know, take profit by doing the opposite trade. That is another option, and that's what got me out of my long position the other night as we were pumping through here, because I forgot I had a limit short, like right here, and it exited me out, but we were able to pick it up pretty fast and enjoy those profits on the run up. Unfortunately, in chat, there was some people that were trying to short right here, and I was just saying, hey guys, our target is the 1.618 and we're not quite there yet. You might want to hold off on shorts, and lo and behold, we have another breakout to the upside. I want off of this playlist. We'll do Jacob Banks. I haven't listened to him in a while. He hasn't put out any new music, but that's kind of a good thing too. Artists that always put out new songs like every single month or something like that just to keep relevancy, it's just trash. It's just trash music. People that spend like a year on an album and then release it, they know what they're doing. Yeah, right after this song, I'll put that on. I used to be into like dubstep, house music, all that kind of stuff, but it's not really my style anymore. Whenever I'm just playing video games and I don't want any like vocals or anything like that to listen to, I'll put stuff like that on. Someone sold 420 BTC on Bitfinex. What you know about techno? I don't know much. So on the 15-minute here, we just got our, you know, I wouldn't call that an oversold bounce, but bounce off the 30 relatively. And that makes sense. We're at the 0.5 of this pattern. For it to come back up and do one more retest to the upside would make a lot of sense. We're kind of building a descending triangle here. So we can kind of get a target off of this and then just bring this to the downside, which would bring us down. If we broke down sometime around this, we'd probably be seeing 8,575. But now that we're starting to get a bounce on our RSI, I want to see it come up, get rejected at the 50, and then fall back down in order for us to continue this down. And Bubble Boy, let me check the Discord. Whenever you guys do join the one-on-ones and I send the Discord and Telegram invite, the Discord, you have to join it and then let me know that you joined it so that I can go give you permissions. So that way you can access a lot of the channels. Otherwise, you won't really have access to anything. Let me see. Server settings. Members, Bubble Boy. Team Kite. There we go. Just making sure I didn't miss anybody. All right, everybody's got permissions. So far, we've got about 48 people in this Discord. So it's growing steadily. Like I said, I don't want the Discord to be overpopulated. I want it to be a place where people can actually talk about their trades and they all have a basic understanding of trading or advanced understanding of trading. So that way no one's trying to piggyback off of each other. Because some people in the market cipher community would just be there to leech. And I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with that if that is what you want to do. I just don't think there's anything beneficial in it for that person. Because one, you can end up, listening to the wrong person that doesn't know what they're talking about, but acts like they know what they're talking about. And then you make a bad trade, blame it all on them. But that's why I want everybody to be able to make their own decisions when they are on that Discord. And we're starting every Thursday at 8 p.m. We will be doing live meetings. So everybody's free to join the Discord if you have access to it. Yeah, and like if you're just leeching and you're not understanding what the person you're listening to is talking about, that's where the problem is, because then you don't get better. You're just constantly looking up to that person and trying to follow their moves, but you're not getting better. There's nothing beneficial in it in the long term. Yes, you might be able to get a couple trades, make a couple $100 to a couple $1,000, but if that person is gone and you don't have them, what now? What do you do? That's why with these streams, I don't necessarily focus on, I'm long right now, go long with me. I let you understand how I make my decisions so that you guys can better understand how to make yours. How do we join? So the Discord group and Telegram group, if you want a lifetime membership, that is with the one-on-ones. So the one-on-ones, if you want to do it through Patreon, it's $500. And then if you want to do it through crypto, just message me on Discord. My name is in the description and as well on Patreon. And that is only $450 in crypto. The reason why it's like that is because Patreon, they take 10% of anything I make on there. So it equals out to the same amount. So you'll be paying less if you're paying crypto, but don't feel bad because you are paying me the same amount as if you were doing it on Patreon. If you do it through Patreon, buy the membership, that is the lifetime and the one-on-ones, and then cancel it after you've bought it once. It's only a one-time payment. And then with the one-on-ones, you get 2 sessions a week. You can schedule them however you want. I usually stay up pretty late. Sometimes I can wake up early in the morning if need be, but typically isn't my forte. And then they usually last about an hour to an hour and 30 minutes. I've had some last as long as 2 hours, depending on what needs to be discussed. And then we get introductions out of the way, talk about, how long you've been trading. I'll throw some questions your way, try to gauge, what are your common problems? I'll run you through a couple different scenarios, and then we'll start working from there. There isn't really a set curriculum. With all of these trading videos like Udemy classrooms, all that kind of stuff, there is a set curriculum from beginning to finish. Me, I start with what I feel like is the most important for that person. Obviously, most of the time, it's going to be Gann fans, setting those up properly, making sure that you're using them effectively, because the basis of my training is support and resistance and understanding price action. But we do cover indicators quite a lot, because indicators, they are a huge part of your decisions, but they should not be the leading cause of decisions. It should always be based off of support and resistance and targets. Would you ever consider creating an official course once you get a massive fan base? Eventually, I might have to. I've thought about this quite a lot in terms of, let's say I get like 200 to 300 people in this one-on-one group. Obviously, if everybody wants to have 2 sessions a week, I will not be able to do that. I have a couple different options. I can either transition to kind of like a Udemy classroom, which I really don't want to lose that personal touch that I have with the one-on-ones. I get to know the person. I get to know where they're at. I can hear it in their voice, what their mindset is on certain subjects. So it definitely helps me teach a lot better. I might have to transition to kind of like a classroom setup where I take like 4 or 5 people that are in the same, general ballpark of learning and group them together and say, okay, I'll find an average time that you all can make. And then we will all 5 meet up at this time. And I feel like that would also be just as beneficial. because when you're in a classroom setting, someone will ask a question that you didn't necessarily think of, but is definitely useful to you. So I feel like later on, if that does happen, I don't think too many people would be opposed to that. But I definitely think that would be beneficial as well. But right now, it's a breeze. Usually I have about 2 to 3, sometimes 4 or 5 sessions a day. I knock them out, go back to trading and playing video games and streaming. So, right now it's a breeze. So don't worry about, not scheduling your sessions if you need them. Definitely let me know, because then we can work together on that. Right now I'm not that busy. I don't have a full-time job. Trading is my full-time job, as well as teaching you guys. So my common problem is when I go short, the price goes up. The same if I go long. I know some people feel like they're cursed, and they always put that type in chat where it's like, hey guys, I'm long, so you guys better be short, because it never works out for me. It's all about just letting price action work itself out. So setting up these Gann fans, using them effectively. And if you're in the middle of a breakout and you haven't reached the target yet, like this breakout right here, a lot of people were shorting in the middle of it. Why would you do that? Obviously, if you have your stop loss set up right here, you could, just on the thin chance that could happen. But if you have not reached your target yet, and you still have all of that momentum pushing you forward, you shouldn't short. And and if you don't have a really good entry, you probably shouldn't long. You should just wait until you get to your target, hit that resistance, maybe the 1.618 from the previous pattern that you projected yourself out of, and then take a short there. You just have to wait for these things to happen in order for you to use them effectively. Let's go. Is that song you were talking about on Spotify? Is it this one right here? Give me 1 second, guys. I gotta send an invite real quick. The First Rebirth by Bonsai. It might not be on Spotify. This one right here? Bonsai Records? Sending you a real vape too, bro. You didn't have to, man. I got actual mods. It's just, lately I haven't really been feeling, replacing the coils and all that kind of stuff. I just like the ease of use of the pod systems. That's why I've been kind of leaning towards those. Just making sure I didn't miss any questions. Doesn't look like it. Awesome. I think I can put it on this screen now because I don't have the light shining in my face. Aaron Clay, what's up, buddy? How you doing, man? Yeah, all good. You saved me a lot of money. I appreciate it, buddy. I'm glad I could help you out. Well, not necessarily, because usually I start my streams at about 8 o'clock, so you're pretty much right on time. I started a little bit early today. Andy, have a good night, man. Have a great sleep. Yeah, and anybody that's still kind of, because I get this question a lot on Discord for some of my previous calls on the Telegram. So we'll just run through a couple. I'll show you how I kind of structure my Telegram. So I focus a lot on telling you guys why you should enter a trade and what I'm potentially seeing. So usually every single day, sometime around like 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. EST, I put out a daily outlook. This was one of them. This is back before we broke out of that little bull flag. Basically telling you guys, hey, it's probably a good idea to long this because we do have a bounce on the 50. We have a hidden bullish divergence, all that kind of stuff. On this run up, I marked out an area where you should start taking shorts if you wanted to take a short off of that. And we're still kind of sitting in that region. That blue box was right here. So, you know, little box right here. And that did work out very well in the beginning. And then some of the other calls. Today, I put out, I was like, 1 hour is still bearishly diverging on the RSI. It did get a bounce off the 50, but the resistance should keep it held down. This does have the potential to have another run up to 9.1K, but I do believe it's going to break down and come over some more in order to not get stopped out by that yellow diagonal resistance that you can see on my chart. If I go back to a hourly chart. This is Monero. Okay. This one right here. And I would like to readjust that slightly so that it lines up with a lot of this price action. So we're going to do that right now. So this is a good opportunity to show you guys how I readjust my Gann fans. So you'll have a 45-degree angle, but you want to make sure that the price action lines up with the price, with the Gann fans line up with the price action. So the way you do that is you get it set up once, take a look at it, see what needs to be readjusted, and then you can either zoom in or zoom out. And then when you zoom in one notch, you'll see your 45 gets offset, and then you just readjust it. Zoom in a couple more times, readjust it. You can see that's bringing my 1-to-1 pretty close. Do it one more time. Okay, I think right about here is good. Awesome. And you can see that starts lining up with a lot of this. You can see we got rejected off of it here. We got rejected off of it here. Got rejected off of it here. So that lines up perfectly, so I can have that. And then just go ahead and delete that 45-degree angle. So now when I go back down to my 15-minute, you can see that is what's been keeping us held down this entire time. So if anything, your stop loss should be above that. That would be a very good stop loss. What do you think about the 12-hour red dot, but MFI is green? I just think that means that we're going to be going into a consolidation for a little bit. Like I said, my aim for this is for us to find resistance between this Gann fan up here, and we could go as even low as the 0.618 once again. So that 12-hour red dot, you know, that could indicate that we're going to be going down towards those lower numbers. All I'm looking for is for us to form a pattern around here. Hopefully some sort of double bottom. Obviously, it might work out differently. Might even be just a gigantic pendant. However this works out, I do think that within this time period right here, we should be forming another shoulder like we did right here. That way we can get that that double bottom inverse head and shoulders so that we can really break out to the upside and use all that weekly momentum that is starting to get built up. But the RSI on the daily, the 3-day, they do need to come back down. I've been following some of what you recently covered. I placed a ladder trade setup using Bybit tools. It's a long with what I thought would be plenty of room for reversal down to 8,476. Should I add more to go lower to the 8,300s? Yeah, if you do want to play this to the long side, I would say start putting in DCAs along the 1.272, the 1.141, and the 1.618. If it does go past the 1.618, I wouldn't necessarily continually DCA because you're getting yourself into some hot water there. If it doesn't get a bounce off the 1.618, we're probably going to try to start trending down towards the 2.618, which is more towards $8,000. Do I think it's going to get all the way there? Not necessarily, but there's definitely a chance for it. Let's see. If we stay within this descending triangle, I mean, we could stay with this resistance, but let's say we stay with this resistance right here. That would be about 17 hours before an actual breakout, which I wouldn't necessarily think it would be taking that long. Probably somewhere in the next like 4 to 5 hours before we actually break down or break out to the upside. But you see this pattern a lot, where you'll get trapped between the 8-to-1 Gann fan and the 0.5 fib retracement. Down here, that happened a couple times. That happened 2 times. So if I go to a 2-hour chart, it'll be a lot easier to see. Right here, okay, the 0.5 fib retracement was right about here, okay? So we kept getting trapped like this, getting put in a descending triangle, getting trapped in the descending triangle right here. So you'll find in a lot of these Gann fan patterns, you'll get trapped in stuff like this, and then break out to the downside. So right here is in a case where it broke out to the downside, but found support on the 8-to-1 Gann fan. Well, actually the 4-to-1 Gann fan, and then bounced back up to the upside. So we could see that here, but I would be suspecting probably a break a little bit lower. Is it too late to short? Right now, yes. Okay, because on some of our lower time frames, we are getting oversold bounces. I would say if it does get back up to 8,844, that is a definite yes. You could short that, or even 8,794. Those would be my 2 points why I would take a short. It's all dependent on how you do this, because if you took a short right now, your stop loss needs to be about 2.28% away, which isn't half bad, to be honest. You could use about 8 to 9x leverage on that safely with my standards. So, I mean, if that is something that you're willing to take, we do have a chance to break down to around here. So that's about a 16% if you're using 10x. And then if we do break down to the 1.618, that's about 43% from where we're currently sitting. So that wouldn't be too bad as well. Kite, have you ever thought about streaming video games? Yeah, I streamed video games for quite a while because whatever video game I'm really into, I typically get really good at it, and I'm usually in competitive standards of gaming. So back when I was like probably like 16, 17, I tried to get my streaming channel off the ground that way, and it worked out for a while. I was #1 in the world in a battle royale game called Darwin Project, and I was number 30 in PUBG, and I would get anywhere between like 15 to 30 viewers, but I wasn't consistent enough, and I, eventually fell out of it. But trading, I mean, it just popped off instantly. So I'm sticking with this. You guys love it. I love doing it. It's very nice and chill. I don't always have to be constantly performing at a high level for 9 hours straight. So it's a lot more relaxed. So I definitely like this more than streaming video games. Someone calling me? Oh. I think someone might have just donated. I don't want to say your name out loud, but it should have popped up on the stream. Oh, it did. Gunny, thank you very much for the $17. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Hopefully it popped up on the stream and popped up in big letters. And it should have changed the top donation. Kind of sad that those aren't set up right now. Let me see if I can get those fixed for you, because I definitely want you to get some recognition. Why does it keep doing that? Tip? Oh my god, I'm gigantic. I will get that fixed for you so that you get some recognition, but thank you very much. I do appreciate that. And then the message said, "Hi Kite, nice to see you again. Missed you. Thank you very much." I was never really a Halo type dude. I've always been more of like a Call of Duty, CS:GO. I loved PUBG when it first came out, but it's not one of my favorites right now, not in the slightest. I really like Rocket League. So right now, the games that I play are Rocket League and Call of Duty Modern Warfare. When Cyberpunk 2077 comes out, I will definitely be on top of that. So, that's not your style of music, isn't it? Not really, to tell you the truth. I have a weird taste in music. Like, I don't like most stuff. Like, it has to be something that really, like, talks to me or just really blows my mind. Like, you know, Khan, his vocabulary, his speed, everything about his rapping is absolutely blows me out of the, my mind. So that's why I love him. Ryan Curveo, I really like him because he's just real. Whit Lowry, another real dude. I just like their music just because I love it. I'm still long at 8,164. Why is it so difficult to close it? Mentally, I mean. I really would love to have a good trade set up within the bull run. Like I said, until the 8-to-1 and the 1 fib retracement is broken, there is still a chance for us to get a bounce and for you to be in profit. So if you don't want to close it, it doesn't necessarily mean you're making a bad decision. As long as you DCA around that range and make sure that your average entry is good and your stop loss is around $8,516, you should be fine. That's a good risk to reward. Because we definitely, if we do break out to the upside, we could see 9,200. So there is a chance. Like I said, in trading, there could be two traders could have two separate trades, but they are both making a good trade, depending on where they entered and what their stop loss is and what their indicators are telling them. They could be playing it two separate ways. One could be long, one could be short on the same exact pattern. But if, the guy that's longing it, longed to the support, and the guy that's shorting it, shorted the resistance, they're both doing the correct thing. So don't feel bad if it goes one way or the other and you lose out on it. There'll be plenty of other trades. But me specifically, in this specific trade right now, I do think it will break out to the downside. Just from what some of my indicators are saying, definitely the daily, the 12-hour, the 6-hour, those RSIs have been bearishly diverging for quite a while. So I definitely think that it's due a drop, slight drop. Opinions about K and C levels. I don't necessarily know what you mean by that. KNC. I haven't heard that. So if you could help me out here. So I might know something about it, but just from that right there, I don't know what that is. Stretchy B, if you're still here, buddy, good night, man. Oh, KNC coin. I have not heard of the coin, but we will take a look at the charts and what the charts are saying. We're gonna have to zoom out here to like a 3-day. See, I can't really I can't tell anything from this chart. That's the problem with a lot of these coins that are just starting off. I can't really do anything with them. Obviously, you can speculate on them, but I really can't make a educated judgment based off of technical analysis with this right here. It just doesn't work. Like Monero, that has some price action that I can work with and a clear structure that I can understand that, you know, tells me, hey, it's a good time to buy Monero. But KNC, Raven coin, all those types of coins that I don't have any fundamental information on, I really can't make any judgments. Oh, I saw you say night in chat, so I thought you were heading out, buddy. Thoughts on Ethereum? Ethereum is a good buy right now as well. We'll look at the Ethereum chart. So Ethereum, we have this support line right here. Okay, this diagonal. And if we're looking at this, let's look at some of our, trying to identify where this breakout would be. Let's just do this piece of price structure right here. All right, so the RSI on the 12-hour definitely needs to come down a little bit, but I don't think that necessarily is a bearish thing long term. It just needs to cool off a little bit. But the weekly chart is looking really good. Okay, we have a bullish not a bullish divergence, actually. Kinda. I would say a bullishly diverging RSI. We have a clear support. We have a lot of bullish divergence off of this, starting from here. Look how massive that divergence is. Okay, so from right here to right here. So that is, let's see, that is 68% to the downside and 255% to the upside from this point here to this point here. So we have a major bullish divergence, just a standard bullish divergence. We're getting a bullish MACD cross. We're coming up and testing the 50 right now. So Ethereum, everything on the weekly chart is looking fantastic. That's why I'm almost certain that we're starting to enter the bull run for the next like 2 to 3 years. We are just trying to break a couple more resistances, and then it is set in stone. There's no reversing that. You have let the bulls out of the cage. I see you got yourself the ultra wide. No, I've always had the ultra wide, but I've always put the stream on a 16:9. So I really didn't like how squeezed it was, but it's a lot better if I can just view the chart right in front of me rather than looking up or looking to the side. Because then I end up not talking into the microphone and all that kind of stuff. 2 to 3 year bull market. Yeah, so this is my ideology, okay, on why I think it will take 2 to 3 years, okay? So if we're looking at this, if we can form a inverse head and shoulders here, and we can use all of this momentum to break out to the upside and stay between the, is that the 1-to-1? Looks like the 1-to-1 and the 2-to-1 Gann fan on your up channels. That would give us this particular piece right here. So anything in between this, bouncing between that. Okay, obviously price action doesn't do that. But if we kind of just go on a long trajectory and say that we're growing gradually, that's how I'm getting that 2 to 3 year bull market. So let's say we start like right here and we're just going out. Okay. My estimation is around $70,000 as our next potential top. We could definitely go a little bit further, but $70,000 to $60,000 to $55,000 would be probably my estimate. And we get 770 days from right now. So that is my thoughts on that. And obviously some of these altcoins are definitely going to have a lot more potential in holding rather than holding Bitcoin. Bitcoin, you could probably make, anywhere between 750% to 1,000% given the circumstances. But Monero, even from right now to its all-time high is, crap, I forgot. I think it's like 900%. Not sure. Let's go ahead and look at it real quick. Okay. So Monero, from where I bought it last, is 860% away. And we already have that target kicking in. We have that double bottom. So we already have this target in play. But if we can get to the 1.272, that is 2,400%. If we can get to the 1.618, which I don't feel like is really likely, it definitely could over the course of like maybe 5 to 10 years. Obviously cryptocurrency loves to surprise, but that's 9,100%. So every single dollar you put in is now worth $100 if it gets to that price. I definitely think it's a good buy. Bitcoin got its popularity on the darknet markets, and I think the same thing is going to happen to Monero as more and more people start to use it, get comfortable with it, using it on a daily basis. And since it is being used as a currency rather than a speculative, I'm losing my words. You know what I'm trying to say. Speculative asset. God, I don't know what's happening. You don't have to really worry much about fundamentals and news getting in the way. You really just have to worry about price structure over time. And that's how you're really going to find out the price of this asset over the next 5 to 10 years. Now I'm pissed off. I couldn't say speculative. Speculative. God. All right. Time to go back to grade school. I can spell it. I can read it. I can spell it. I know I'm trying to say that word, but for some reason, I cannot say it with my tongue. Speculative. Thank you very much, Fearless. I'm really excited about Monero. That's definitely one of my top picks besides obviously Ethereum and basic attention token. My friend that's watching me live stream right now he brought up the Google. Google had to say it for me. Speculative. All right, we learn something new every single day. Crypto Don Juan, what's up, buddy? What about Chainlink with their Google partnering? Haven't heard anything about that. I'm definitely going to be looking into a lot of new coins to hold on to. I just haven't really got to that yet. I was really waiting for bullish signs in the market to really start looking at price structures and what are some coins that are still around from 2017. Those are my really big ones. Because obviously everybody loves speculating on altcoins and making enough money to buy a Lambo. But I'm not really that type of person. Back in 2017, I was looking at projects. I was looking at good coins to buy. And I made a lot of money. Salt was definitely one of them. Come on. Oh, I got a bounce at the 8-1 Gann fan. I was like, is it really going to break this easy? Let's look at our 1 hour. Our 1 hour is just crossing the 50. So that is a potential sign that we're actually going to break out to the downside, because last time we got a bounce off the 50 was where we're sitting right now. So if we're just now crossing the 50, I do think that we should be able to see the 1.618. I hold a ton of salt. What a disappointment. So you have to understand that greed gets in the way. I did the same exact thing with Bitcoin Private back in the day. As soon as that asset becomes public on exchanges, you sell it right away. Do not hold on to it. Salt, the second it came out, I sold it for $17. And I think I bought it for maybe like $2. Okay. So as you know, as soon as their platform officially launched, Bitcoin Private, I was mining Zcash and buying Zcash, waiting for the fork. I put it on Bittrex. Once Bittrex gave me the Bitcoin Private, I immediately sold it for $150. And it literally cost me, back when I started buying Zcash, it only cost me maybe like $15 to $20. And then as well as Bitcoin Private going up to $150, Zcash, I think, went up to like $300 during that craze. So as soon as Bitcoin Private came out and I got my Bitcoin Private, I sold my Zcash, I sold my Bitcoin Private, I'm out. Now Bitcoin Private is sitting at like 25 cents. So unfortunate. I think it's sitting at like $1 or something, actually. Oh my God, I didn't even realize I had a short open on Ethereum. How did I miss that? I'm glad it's in profit, but how did I miss that? Let's go fix that real quick. Up 30% on Ethereum. I didn't even notice. I am not going to be tracking that right now. I definitely think it could come back down a little bit more, probably down to like 155. But I'm not focusing on that right now, so I do not want to be trading it while I'm not focusing on it. But this one definitely looks more like a bullish pendant. And I was suspecting probably like 177 as my next potential target, but it definitely could come back down. But we're seeing a lot of bullishly diverging on the MACD on the 1 hour. The RSI is already getting pretty low. 2 hours still pretty high, so I definitely think it could come back down. Wow, I did not know I was that much up on Ethereum. Sometimes you get lucky. I was trading it last night, so. So we're still on BTC, right? Oh, we gotta go to a 15-minute. Okay, there we go.
You've been pushed to the edge far too many times. But time is dwindling and you're running out of options. I'm afraid there's no saving you if you don't act now. It's Butterfly Boy. It's time.
Hopefully, for anybody that was trying to long this, you got your DCAs in, and maybe we will have another test to the upside before actually breaking out of this. And that might be a chance to save your trade. Or, you know, if we do break out to the upside, make some more. But with this 1 hour just now starting to creep past the 50, that gives me some signs of, hey, this is probably going to break out to the downside. Us poor folks with only one screen. Just pick up another 1920 by 1080 panel. It definitely helps. Definitely you don't need like 4 different monitors like I do. But 2 monitors, I would say, is not a necessity, but it's a quality of life and a productivity thing. Because before I had this really cool setup, I just had 2 1440p monitors, and I could have stuck with that for the rest of my life. You don't really need anything more than that. There we go. If you don't, you can get a monitor arm and then put it on like the side of your desk. And that's one way to do it. Like you can actually have the monitor hanging off of your desk if you want to. What time frame is your RSI? So right now it's on the 15-minute because we're trying to watch some of these lower time frames. But I always, for major movements and potential breakouts, I always check the 2-hour and 1-hour for breakouts. And then 15-minute isn't what I'm using for like an early warning sign of like a potential bottom. Like over here, as we started coming down, I started to see that the RSI was bullishly diverging and getting a bounce out of the oversold territory. So that told me that that was probably going to be a temporary bottom and a potential retest to the upside. So I should probably take some profits and then, either one, you could exit all of it and just wait and take a long. But me, personally, I continued with a short. I took some profits, but then I re-DCA'd up here on these peaks. I look extra grayed out today. I'll try to fix that. I want to bump up the saturation a little bit. It's definitely going to make me look more red. There we go. I still need that white card you were talking about. The reflective white card. I'm a legend. No, I'm just a little kid. 4 minimum. I remember, I don't know who it was, but someone sent me a picture of their trading setup and they had like 12 monitors. And I'm like, your neck hurts, man. You're breaking your neck. Win 3K BTC. I don't think we're ever going to see that again, man. I don't think we're ever going to see that again. I really don't. Better question is when's 70,000 BTC? 700 days away. But I'm telling you guys, these Gann fan time cycles are money. Okay, so we start at our all-time bottom, part of vertical line. Okay, now we go out 192 days. It calls the absolute top of that upswing. We'll go out 192 days again. And it called the bottom before we pumped. I don't know how these work. I don't know why they work. All I know is I make a ton of money off of them. So that's why I share it with you guys. The amount of times that I've had that comment written to me. Kite is just a high-level autistic savant in crypto. That's why his name is Austin. That's a good one. Thank you. Did I follow trading lessons in school or something like that? No, not really. I just was into crypto as a speculative asset, and I got lucky, made a lot of money with it. And then I slowly started to learn trading, but I didn't really start learning trading until May or June of this year, and really getting into it and learning all the concepts that come with it. And I basically just taught myself. I would listen to CBC patrons. I would listen to Filicone, and I would listen to Crown Crypto every single day. even if I didn't understand what they were talking about or anything like that, I just wanted to make sure that the vocabulary that they were using was getting stuck in my brain. And then I would start individually dissecting each thing they were talking about. So I would take a look at Elliott wave theory. I would take a look at, breakout trading. I would take a look at risk to reward EMAs. That's, Crown Crypto's thing. But I didn't find Gann fans until it just, it randomly came to me one day. And I know that's kind of weird to say. How does a kid that doesn't know anything about trading just all of a sudden figure out Gann fans? I was drawing Gann fans. So let's say we had a descending triangle. Okay. I would overlay my fib retracements on it. And then from this bottom left corner, I would start to connect this bottom left corner to all of my connection points. And that's how I would make my Gann fans. And then the way you would get your down channels, you would go ahead, find the intersections, and you would put verticals down. These are kind of like your market cycles. And these are also what I would use as I would call them tunnels. So the thinner the tunnel, the higher the chance of having a gigantic candle to the upside or to the downside. And this is how I would call blood diamonds and stuff 30 minutes to an hour in advance. I would say, if we're going to get a blood diamond, it would be at that exact point right there. And then I would go and take my top left corner and connect that to my bottom connections. And that's how I would get my down channels going forward. And obviously it would be on a much bigger pattern, so it would be more spaced out and easier to see. But then I would start noticing points where there's a lot of support and resistance that could be tested all at one point in time. And I would visualize it for everybody. And I would, basically the theory I had was bots are looking to support, are looking to test multiple supports and multiple resistances all at the same time. And that way they can make an effective decision as they move along. So I could chart my path, and everybody's like, well, you have 1,000 different lines and you have 1,000 different circles. Obviously it's going to hit some of them, but I would find these points right here, right here, right here. There's one right here, here, and there's a bunch over here that I just don't have marked out. There's some over here. And the way I would do this is okay, if we found support right here, we would either be going straight up to this one or to this one or to this one. If we got rejected right here, we would be falling down to this one. If we got rejected again, we'd be falling down to that one. And the most clusters are on the edges, which is why these are your breakout points and where you build a lot of momentum. You'll have a lot of these intersections where it's a bunch of support and a bunch of resistance all at the same time. And that's why you have these explosive movements when you break a resistance or break a macro support, because you are testing multiple supports and multiple resistances all at the same time, combining them together, and you smash through them. I know that's a lot. And then someone in chat was like, hey man, you heard of Gann fans? It's pretty much exactly what you're doing, but you can set it up in 5 minutes. And I was like, oh, cool, sweet. I'll just go back, 2 months of work on what I've been building. So that's how I got into Gann fans. I know that's a long answer. Say non-correlated asymmetric speculative asset. I think I did a halfway decent job there. Still messed up on the S word. Not gonna say it again. I think it was in chat. Someone was telling you they used Gann box and then you started Gann fans. Yeah, the Gann box, I don't like it as much as Gann fans, just because the way you set it up. But I definitely love Gann fans now. And when you combine them with market cycles and fib retracements to get your horizontal support and resistance, I think it is a very effective way of trading. I don't necessarily subscribe to the same thing like EMAs are the devil, but I consistently see my EMAs lining up with my huge Gann fans. So I don't need to use EMAs. Everybody's always like, why don't you use EMAs? Why don't you use EMAs? Because I'm looking at essentially the same exact thing, but through a different way. So I'm able to make the same judgments just in a different manner. So I don't necessarily have to cloud my chart with a whole bunch of stuff. Are you seeing double top or inverse head and shoulder? Yeah, I mean, we do have a triple top right here. So, I mean, I would probably say, 8,500 would definitely be a for sure thing. But if we do break past the 1, I would be looking at the 1.618. And that is at $8,343. And a lot of people, they also ask, why don't you use fib speed retracement fans instead of Gann fans? Because you get your fib retracements and your Gann fans all in the same tool. And the reason why I don't do that is because Ganns, they work off of a square factor of 9, while fib retracements, they work off Fibonacci. So the Gann fans are going to be relatively the same, but a little bit different. And I'm much more comfortable with using Ganns. I don't want to switch it up just because of that ease of use. I definitely think it's a lot easier to read just fib retracements and Ganns rather than having fib retracements, and they have a whole bunch of numbers everywhere. I just don't think that's effective. Oh, what's up, Rob? I didn't even see you coming in the chat, man. What's up, buddy? Man, we're just growing viewers every time I stream. We're up to 71 viewers. I remember when I first got on this schedule, we would hit anywhere between like 30 and 40 viewers. Now we're up to 71. That is crazy to think about. And like I said, guys, for people that are in other countries such as Europe and Australia and China, if you guys can't make it to these streams, I have set a goal. So if I can get 100 viewers consistently for probably like 1 to 2 days, I will change up my schedule a little bit and have earlier streams on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So that way you guys can stop into those streams and get the same information. You are a great host, better than others. Thank you very much, man. I do appreciate that. Kite, I have a Pine script for you if you want to test it. Sure, man. I'm open to all that. Just go ahead and message me on Discord, and then I can try it out. Do you have a dedicated video on the Gann theory you just described? Sounds very intriguing. If you're talking about me manually setting up the Gann fans, I have a video. It's really old, so it's probably buried under everything, all these live streams. It's called Ready Spot Kite Box. Ready Set Kite Box, something like that. And that's the manual drawing. But I do have a Gann fan video. It's just called How to Set Up Gann Fans. I probably will redo it because there's a lot of information that I was missing that would definitely be useful for a lot of you guys. So I probably will be doing that video very soon. Retro House Mix. Have a great night, man. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'm new. Your Gann fans are different than the one on TradingView. I mean, I'm on TradingView, and I was just using the Gann fan tool. Typically, people, when they set up their Gann fans, they don't set them up the way I do. For me, I need to see symmetry in my patterns in order for it to be effective and used right. So the macros are probably the easiest way to explain this. So in order to make sure that your 0.5 fib retracement lines up with the symmetrical triangle you create with the down channels and up channels from your Gann fans, you need to have the same vertical starting point. Okay. So typically people will start their up channels from their absolute low and then start their down channels from their absolute high. But the trick is finding the intersection between your low and your high as your down channel starting points. And obviously if your high comes before your low, it's going to be opposite of how these macros are set up. But the formula that you want to use in order to find out where should you set up your Gann fans. Okay. You want to find a pattern. Okay. So we have a bull flag here that broke out to the upside. So you have a pattern, you have a breakout, and then you have either a top or a bottom of that breakout. And then that next swing low or swing high is going to be your new Gann fans going forward. So right here, we have a descending wedge that broke out to the downside. We have a bottom, and then we have a swing high. So these are your new starting points of your Gann fans. Now, if you do set in a new low, you kind of have to readjust your Gann fans accordingly, but that is just something that might happen. It doesn't always happen. Right here, we kind of wicked past the 0.5 fib retracement. Kind of was a scare momentarily, but did work out, and we pumped right back up above it, closed above it. I entered my long again after I got stopped out, rode that up, made 160%, just like that. Kite, how about some streams on how you research your altcoins that you are speculating on, or will speculate on? That is something that I might do. That is a good idea. I'll look, I'll tell you guys how I look at it, because in particular, I look for assets that aren't fundamental driven. And that's a huge problem with a lot of the altcoins. They don't have any platform out yet, and they're not getting any use case. So it's all speculative, and it's not really based on price structure. Like Bitcoin, Monero, Dash, Litecoin, Ethereum, they have very specific use cases, and they have a good track history and price structure. So those are very easy to spot when to buy and when to sell. And you know that it's not based on fundamentals or news. Relatively, sometimes news does affect Bitcoin, but it is not the main driving factor. On a lot of these altcoins, it's always about, oh, this is the next best altcoin because this, and that. And then that drives the price up. That is a fundamental. That is news that is affecting the price rather than actual use case and price structure, which I am a trader. So I'm looking for those values in an asset rather than speculating on an asset. Come on, can we just break out already? 30 minutes past the 50, 1 hour coming past the 50. I'm excited for the breakout to the downside. Nandon, I love you too, buddy. Oh, let's change up the songs here. We'll do Whit Lowry. We'll play Whit Lowry Debt. I like that song. Damien, if you're still watching the stream, I just saw your Telegram message. Depending on how you want to pay for the one-on-ones and get full access to the Discord as well as my time, you can either go through Patreon, which it's $500 just through US dollars. And then if you pay with crypto, you just have to message me on Discord so I can give you my wallet address and then verify the transaction that way. Just message me on Discord. My name is in the description, but it's Kite #2136. So just message me on there. And if you do it through crypto, it's only $450. The reason for that is because on Patreon, they take 10% of anything I make. So it comes out to the same price. So you'll be paying less, but you'll be paying me the same amount as if you were paying me $500 on Patreon. So all up to you, man. Just came back, not in front of my CPU, on my phone. How far do you think we'll go before we bounce? So I do think we should get some sort of slight bounce around this region. It would just make sense. And then from there, what you're looking for is if we get rejected at the 50 on either the hourly or the 2 hour, that would be an early warning sign that we will break out to the downside. And if that happens, I would be targeting the 1.618, and that is at $8,346. I made money holding a short since first week to 850 while I was traveling due to a huge funding rate. That's awesome, man. I haven't really done much with the funding rate. I know that's a strategy that a lot of people use to accumulate over a long period of time, but it just hasn't been something that I've been particularly looking at. I'm sorry, it's the light, guys. The lights are making me go crazy. Mike Lowry. If you're going to hodl, then look for fundamentals and use case that you believe in, correct? Exactly. And it does help, like in Monero, where you see a specific pattern that lets you know a specific target that you can hope to reach. But like I said, Monero, it is a currency that is being used very often, and it's not too worried about news because it is a darknet market asset. Most of the, I would say 90% of the time. But I do believe in it. And like I said, just because it is a darknet market asset, Bitcoin was too at one point. And, you know, a lot of us don't like to talk about it because that's a bad reputation on Bitcoin, but you just have to be real with it. And if Bitcoin got its start in the darknet, I think Monero can too. And it might branch out into everyday use. Which I don't see many use cases for private transactions. Maybe if you're sending a large amount of money to somebody and you don't want those KYCs to show up. I don't know. If not a crash, if you went up 300%. It's not a crash if you went up 300%. It's a correction. You're right. That's why I don't like to see crazy upruns. Like this 40% pump back in Bitcoin. Those aren't sustainable. Like we had a bullish pattern 2 times. And because of that huge uprun, we were not able to sustain it and we broke back down to the downside. If we did this slowly, that could have actually been a chance to break this down cycle and actually break out above this 4-to-1 Gann fan. But because we pumped 40% pretty much in one day, it pretty much negated everything and built up gigantic divergences that led to the breakout to the downside. This right here, this is healthy. We are breaking out to the upside, but we are coming back down and retesting previous resistance and confirming support along the way, making sure that the daily time frame, the weekly time frame don't get too stressed out and then eventually have to come all the way back down. It's Damon? Damon S. So say Damon, okay? Is that how you pronounce it? Because I'm always used to say like Damien. I get it. The Damon sounds like a demon.
Where do you go when there's nowhere to go? They talking, I know they don't know. It's like when your heart becomes empty and cold. How do I know what's real when my mind questions all I know? How do I save myself from myself when I'm feeling low? How do I flip the page if I'm stuck reading what I wrote?
Damon. Okay, Damon. Damon. I'll try, buddy. I'll try. Sometimes I might slip up, man. You know me. Words are not my forte. Trading is. Let's go check out the Discover Weekly. I don't think a lot of these songs have changed, but we'll see what's up.
Empty, but my soul is full. They full of it. Please don't forget me. I work too hard and not be popping. Either this or it's a coffin. Walking till my phone is knocking. I've been at whoa. How many days do I got? How many nights have I lost? Is my shit empty or full? Cause the glass is half to the top. I can't decide. I must be true.
Actually, let's just put it on the Siege. Last name is Speculative. God, you're just going to trip me up the entire time. What's up, Damon Speculative? That'd be a cool teacher name. Like, what's up, Mr. Speculative? How you doing, man? Inquisitive. That's how I'm doing. So the 15-minute, we're not quite there yet, but we are pretty close to forming a hidden bullish divergence, or at least a exaggerated bullish divergence off of this wave right here. Money flow cutting into the red. Let's look at this 30-minute. If we don't drop below 8,500, we have another hidden bullish divergence. 1 hour. We got tons of hidden bullish divergence on that coming from these. I'm up 6.67% right now. Not too bad, not too shabby. One hour money flow is still high. Hey, you know what they say, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. And the second people start seeing that money flow drop off a cliff, they're going to follow right behind it. And this thing should dump. But obviously 30-minute is where we're leading with this. And like I said, you have to understand that the time frames are just different resolutions of the same exact thing. So when we're viewing the 30-minute, we are technically still viewing the hourly. We are just viewing it in a different way, a higher resolution. So we are seeing what is happening on the hourly, but we are able to view, zoom in a little bit, so to speak. Let me do my little What is going on? Bitcoin? I'm like the weather lady of Bitcoin, as someone put one time. These lights are burning my corneas out. See, the reason why lights affect me so much is because I'm almost positive I inherited Fuchs from my mom, which basically, it's like a lot of people are sometimes born with, I think, convex corneas. I don't know what the actual term is for it, but it causes the lights to, like, let's say there's a light source here, you'll have strings coming off of that light source, and it makes the light look a lot bigger and distracts you a lot more. So that's why like driving at nighttime is pretty hard for me, because even if you don't have your high beams on, it affects me like high beams. So are you using MCB VWAPs and as oscillators that you measure your divergences on, or are you using RSI specifically? I'm using RSI specifically, and then I use the VWAP for general trends. So as soon as I see it cross 0, I know we're probably going to go to the downside because VWAP is accurate, but your entries won't be that good. This one would have been, all right. But I am more paying attention to money flow and RSI and then divergences from MACD. That's kind of my lineup of indicators and how I use them. Yeah, like at nighttime, I have to use like those old people glasses that have like the yellow tint on them. So that way I can actually see. Put your hands under the dump and provide support. I'll put my head under it. There we go. I got you, Bitcoin. I got you. Jesus Christ, will you look how white my arms are? Ridiculous. I look like a tortilla. I'm putting my sleeves down. You guys can't see my arms. Your tortilla word triggered my stomach. Tell me about it, man. I've been intermittent fasting for the last week and a half now. And the first 2 weeks are so hard, man. I'm always hungry, but I know it's just my mind. It's not necessarily the fact that I actually need to eat. So it's hard, man. But it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth it. You feel a lot better. You get down to a reasonable weight. And intermittent fasting is awesome because you actually don't have to change what you eat. You just change when you eat. Obviously, you want to get the right nutrition and everything. You want to make sure you're hitting your macros, but I love it. You need to describe yourself like I do to myself. Tragically Caucasian. I always go like, my nickname in middle school was Casper the Ghost because I was so white. And there's no fix for it. Like, if I go out in the sun and I try to get tan, I just get sunburned. And I don't go out and, like, the only time I've ever gotten tan in my life is when I worked for a construction company and I would mow grass a lot. And I would only be outside for like maybe 30 minutes to an hour, and then I would come back inside and do work. And I would do that every other day. So over the course of like maybe a month or 2 months, I actually got some sort of tan. But other than that, there's no way. There's no way. Are you doing one meal a day? Yeah, so I fast 20 hours, and my eating window is from 2 to 6. And then that's when I eat. I think I broke it a couple times, but that's because I hadn't eaten at all that day, and I just forgot, and I started streaming. And on Sundays are kind of like my cheat day. And if someone's like, hey, you want to go to, Outback or something? I'm like, oh, hell yeah, I want to go to Outback. Don't ask me twice. I'll pay for you if we go to Outback. Get a tanning bed? I don't... Like, cancer, man. Cancer. Cancer is like the scariest thing in the back of my head at all times. It's like, you could be living the best life possible, and then, boom, you get smacked with cancer. It's ridiculous. Spray tan. I feel like spray tan is cheesy. Because, like, 1 second you're not tan, and then the next second you're tan. And everybody's kind of like, are you really that insecure, bro, about your skin tone? That you need to use spray tan? I'm like, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I am. Dude, I started intermittent fasting and found a way to eat like 5,000 calories a day. That liquid diet for the win. Yeah, man. I love intermittent fasting because it makes your meals taste better because you have time for your taste buds to get clear. It makes soft drinks taste so much better because you're just basically shooting yourself up with a bunch of insulin all at one time. And you can eat as much as you want. And it's self-regulating as well because when you do eat small, and within a certain specific period of time, obviously you're eating a little bit less. And as you start eating less, your stomach gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So you feel full and you feel full longer. So, I mean, it's just a self-regulating thing. I love it. Korean, what's up, buddy? Everything is going fantastic. Our short is working out beautifully. Are we most likely going to drop out of this price action? I don't think right now. I do think there is a potential retest of the 0.5 or maybe just a little bit lower, like the 0.618. I could be wrong, but I would probably be looking at like the 30-minute and the hourly. I would want to see that come back up and get rejected at the 50, and that would probably be the nail in the coffin for this short. And then we would probably fall down to most likely the 1.414 or the 1.618. So anywhere between the mid 400s to the mid 300s in the 8,000 region. Oh, a lot of people in Asia pay to get a whitening skin effect. Human being won't be happy. Grass is always on the other side. 100%. Actually, are we actually dropping out of the 8-1 Gann fan right now? We're actually trying. You should love everything about yourself, no matter what size. Yeah, I understand like the whole body positivity thing, but at a certain point, you have to really look in the mirror and say, is this healthy? Is this what I want to be? Am I happy with this? And if the answer is no, change it. Obviously, there's a certain point where if you go beyond healthy and you go into like dangerously skinny, that's the point where it becomes a concern. But if you are an unhealthy weight and you don't feel happy at that weight, working towards that and reaching a goal, like a goal weight, obviously you have the effect of you reaching that goal. So you feel like you've accomplished something. Your bones definitely have a lot less weight on them. So they feel better, and you feel better. So I think there is, both sides of the puzzle to that. It's not just like, no matter what weight you are, feel happy. I think that is just a cop-out for a lot of people and an excuse to not work towards a better self. Hey, I got titties, man. I got titties, okay? I'm trying to get rid of these titties, all right? So if I'm calling people unhealthy, I'm calling myself unhealthy right now. But I'm trying to get better. Look at these. Self-deprecation is the best comedy. As long as you're not doing it, as long as you're the one in control of it. Because I know, like, if you're getting bullied in school and you just go along with it, I don't think that's healthy. But if you understand what you're doing and you're in control of the situation, self-deprivation comedy is the funniest. One of my favorite comedians on YouTube right now is Leon Lush. I absolutely love his videos because he makes fun of himself all the time. I love that guy. Damn, got me looking at my belly getting all depressed and shit. I'm so sorry, buddy. Try intermittent fasting. You could do 16 hours fasting, 8 hours eating. It's not like I mean, most people have that schedule anyways. Definitely looking at intermittent fasting. I know it's like the new hip thing. And there's always some sort of fad in terms of, weight loss. But I have been using it for about a year. On and off. Like, I've been doing it the entire time. But I was at 185. And I didn't change my diet. I just changed when I ate. And I was probably eating a little bit more than I would normally. But within a compact period of time. And I went from 185 to 160 in about 2 months. So right now I am 190. I was 200 pounds about a week and a half ago. So I'm back down to 190. So in about 2 to 3 months, I should be back down to 160, which is where I'm comfortable with. And then, usually I'll get down to my goal weight, but I won't start working out and building muscle. I just like getting the fat off. Yeah, because there's a lot of science about it, because if you're constantly snacking or constantly eating, you're not letting your insulin levels drop below a certain point. And they have to be below a certain point in order for your body to start using the fat that is on you as fuel. And if since you were a kid, you've been doing that, you build up like this tolerance, and your body doesn't know how to effectively use the fat that's on you as fuel. So it will cause you to get hungry and feel lethargic when you don't eat, which makes you think that you need to constantly eat in order to sustain your energy. But, that's why, I always, if someone's going to try intermittent fasting, I say at least give it 2 weeks, and then you can make your final decision on whether it's right for you or not. But it usually takes about 2 weeks for your body to relearn how to use that fat effectively and burn it when you don't have calories always coming in. So, but after it learns how to do that, I mean, you will be chock full of energy. When I start intermittent fasting from when I haven't done it for a while, I literally can't sleep. I have so much energy, and I haven't eaten for like 12 hours. It's ridiculous. So that is one of the cons. You won't be able to sleep properly for the first couple of weeks because you'll just have too much energy. You can't judge your progress by weight. Yeah, I understand that. It's just I don't feel good. When I'm at this high of a weight, my bones ache. I can't go on long walks. My back starts to hurt. So weight is definitely a huge key factor in that. But obviously, there's a lot more that goes into it, like getting the right vitamins, making sure you're getting a lot of exercise. Obviously, that is another key part of it as well. But weight is the main goal, I would say. Obviously, you would want to build muscle after that or during it, but that is the main goal. I haven't given up sugar because intermittent fasting makes sugar so much more awesome. But yes, I do understand that brain fog aspect, but it was just like I was saying, your body needs time to relearn how to use the fuel that it has. So until it relearns that process of decarbonizing the fat, I think that is the term used, you'll have that brain fog, you'll have that lethargic feeling. That's awesome, man. Dude, I have so much respect. Like, we talked about it on one of these live streams a couple nights ago. Just my view on all the people that hate Instagram models and professional fitness people. That's a lot of work and discipline. And if you work that hard for a goal and you look that good, why would you not want to show that off to everybody? It's just a natural thing to do. So there's so many people that are body shaming in the opposite direction of, oh, you have 6-packs abs. It must be your genetics, You probably just don't even work out for that. But they are in the gym, 5 days a week for like 2 hours. And they are dieting, like these Marvel movies. If you read, like, Kumail Nanjiani, If you saw what he looked like before and after, before they put him through that like training course that lasted like 6 months, he'll tell you it was hell. Like there's nothing worse. So I have a lot of respect for those people. That's crazy, man. I'll have to start chewing on my arms. Oh man. Just try to set up the Gann fans with your video, but since it's too much old, it doesn't line up with the charts. How do you know from what time you need to set it? So it's not based on time frame, it is based on top and bottoms of patterns. So like I said, on the macros, you're going to need to readjust your Gann fans by using your 45-degree angles. So zoom in or out and then reset your 1-to-1 Gann fan onto the new 45-degree angle. And you want to make sure that the Gann fans are in confluence with the price action. So you can see right here, this was the acting support. This was an acting support. This was resistance right here and right here. And then the 8-to-1 Gann fan are, obviously hold us down up in this descending triangle. So make sure that your Gann fans are in confluence with the price action. I want to make sure that they are more accurate. Do you have any take on the bottom? The bottom of this particular piece of price structure or Bitcoin as a whole? Because I do think we've actually hit the bottom. So my thought process is we have already hit the bottom, okay? Because if you put your fib retracements on this piece of price structure, you can see the 0.382 is where we last capitulated and then fell down out of the bear market. To me, we got a really strong bullish reversal at that last capitulation. So that tells me that the support of the last bull market is now the support of the new bull market. And I suspect that we will put in a inverse head and shoulders over the next 30 to 40 days. And then we will be using this particular set of Gann fans as our up channel for our new bull run. Should last anywhere between 700 to 800 days before we officially find a top and go into a bear market. So we should be looking at these Gann fans right here. And a lot of this is supported by the weekly chart right now. Not necessarily the monthly. The monthly is still kind of bearish. But the weekly chart, you can see that we have extreme hidden bullish divergence. Our money flow is starting to cut into the green, and we are just now testing the 50 to the upside. So if we do shoot past that 50, I would assume that it is right here at 9,200 or maybe even the 0.786. So definitely looking forward to this. And if you look at any other asset, Ethereum, Monero, it is looking all the same. Monero is one of my most clear bottoming buys right now. You can see that we put in a macro inverse head and shoulders, double bottom pattern. That means all of this price action is now a new target. So if it does come back down to 155, which is, I am expecting that, and you bought it then and just held on to it, you could potentially come away with about 728%. And I do think in the next bull market, we have a potential to get past that and get to the 1.272. And that would be about 2,000% away. Over the next 5 to 10 years, I do think this will be an emerging asset, definitely because of the dark market aspect of it. But even from where we're sitting, it is 7,500% away from the 1.618, which is about $5,000. I don't think it's going to get there anytime soon, not even within this bull market. It could surprise me, but I'm only expecting the 1.272. That would be a very good target. I'm already up about 35 to 40% on Monero, so I'm a very happy man, to say the least. Mrs. G, what do you think about my bullish arguments? Because I know you're the local bear around here and you want Bitcoin to go to $1. But what is your argument that we are still going to be going down? Because I mean, if you can win me over, I might be looking at it that way too. But from my perspective, what I'm seeing, it is definitely a bullish asset right now. Insert cute bear emoji. Yeah, obviously. Well, a lot of resistances need to be broken in order for that bull market to be set in stone. But as of right now, if we can form that next shoulder and cause that momentum to be shifted, everything from $14,000 down now becomes a new target and will definitely help us smash through 9.4K, $10,000 and $11,000. And once we are past that 8-to-1 Gann fan, we have one more resistance to get through before it is absolutely set in stone that we are in a bull market. Obviously, 19,900 and, whatever the all-time high is also another huge resistance going forward, but that's quite a bit away. Like I said, guys, we have plenty of time before my view on Bitcoin breaks. Obviously, if we break this particular Gann fan right here, I would probably start changing my view pretty fast, because that means we could drop down to the next level down here around 5.5K. But even that wouldn't necessarily be bearish, because 5.7K is the absolute bottom of that capitulation from where the bull market, the bear market last held. Just signed up to your Patreon channel. Awesome, man. Let's see. Awesome, man. Did you send me a message on Discord so I can share that link with you? You did. Awesome. So the Discord is not for the $50 a month. That is only the Telegram group where I give my calls, and you're free to ask questions and chat with other members. But the Discord group specifically is for people that are taking the one-on-ones, and that is just between me and Seth. We've made that decision because we want to make sure that the Discord is full of people that know what they are doing, and they are not there just to listen. They are there to participate. So hopefully you understand, man. And but I'm going to send that Telegram group link to you in just a second. And make sure you don't give out the link to anybody, because I don't change the link all that often. And I don't want people inviting their friends into the group just because I want to make sure that people are vetted before they get in. But thank you very much, man. I do appreciate that. Okay, it's fixed now. Sorry about that. Like I said, guys, it happens sometimes. There's that bounce I was talking about. So now this will let some of the lower time frames come up and test the 50. And that's a good thing. Whether we hold inside this pattern and break out to the upside, but me specifically, I'm looking for the 50 to be tested and then get rejected for a breakout to the downside. If you take the lessons, are you in the Discord for only a month or for longer? So if you are in the one-on-one group, that is a one-time payment and you have lifetime access, okay? So whether you do it through Patreon or through crypto. So you have lifetime access to that, as well as you get 2 sessions a week. And like I said, typically people only need about maybe 4 to 5 sessions before they really get proficient. and start really realizing what they need to be doing. And then from there on out, it's just kind of like catch-up sessions. Like, hey, how you doing, man? What trades have you made this week? You know, were they good trades? Were they bad trades? Let's review them and see what, mistakes you possibly made. And, as I learn new things too about trading, I insert those into the one-on-ones, because trading or anything in life, you should be constantly learning as you're going along, and just progressively getting better. But I feel like I'm at a point now where I'm making consistently great trades and my profit loss is extremely good. So I feel like I could help definitely a lot of people with those one-on-ones. And I don't like to take all the credit, but look at Seth, man. Seth is like the leader of the Market Cypher community right now on the Discord. And we had our first session a couple months ago, back in like September. And he was one of the first people to come to me. So he's been doing significantly well. That man is... I don't necessarily agree with the leverage he uses, but he's good with it. So that's all that matters. Lifetime in Discord or Telegram or both? Both. So Telegram is for just text and my calls and questions that you have that you can, put in the live chat. And then the Discord, every Thursday, we will be having a meetup so that everybody can talk, get everything out of the way. And then Seth, he puts a lot of his calls on the Discord, so we kind of share it back and forth. So you'll have two really great traders giving calls. But my calls, I definitely focus more on the educational side of it, rather than, hey, this is my trade, follow me right now, or else you're going to lose your money. It will never be that way. John, have a great night, man. Thank you for stopping in. I do appreciate it, man. Can you let Fish back in here? I have not used my wireless charger all day. I always forget to use it. I love the I didn't think I would use the wireless charger as much as I do. But like literally I don't even have to charge my phone at night anymore because it's always at 100%. It's Seth? Where's Seth at? Is that Seth that sometimes streams on YouTube? No, it's C-E-F, C-E-P-H. Are you still focusing more these days on pattern TA rather than indicators like MC and MACD? Yes. I am a big promoter of support and resistance and live price action. That should make the majority of your decisions, and focus on making good risk to reward trades. And then later on, look at your indicators for preemptive strikes. Sometimes I'll get into a long based on a good risk to reward, but I will see a rejection at the 50, and that is my early warning sign to get out, that we will have a breakout to the downside. So always take your shorts and longs off of the respective resistances and supports. So that way you are making good risk to reward trades, and your entries are as good as they possibly can get, and your stop losses are as good as they possibly can get. Because the way I structure my trades, is I use 5% on swings, 2% on scalps, and then I have a real stop loss of 20%, and then I take my chart stop loss and I divide 20 by my chart stop loss. So let's say my entry allows me to have a 1% stop loss. So I'm able to use 20x leverage on that trade. If my stop loss is 5% away, I can only use 4x leverage on that trade. That way I consistently make sure that my stop loss is the same and my position size is relatively the same. Obviously, as your account grows, your position size will grow with it. But that allows me to make sure that my risk to reward is never messed up. That way, if I take a 5 risk to reward trade, that means I could lose 4 trades in a row, but still be in profit. But if I'm constantly flipping, flopping between leverages and position size and all that kind of stuff, eventually some trade will get messed up and then that resets everything. So right now I could literally lose like 60 trades in a row and I would still be in profit because I've consistently made sure that over the past couple months, I've been taking really good trades along the way. Obviously, I would not want to lose 60 trades in a row. It's just, at this point, I could never really go back to where I started. And that's the objective. And you only really need like a 2 risk to reward ratio for it to be a good trade. But if you can get anything above a 2, that is absolutely awesome. Yeah, Seth offered to come down and buy me dinner. I'm looking forward to it. He was like, "You've helped me so much, and I feel like I owe you. So I'll take you out to dinner." And I was like, "Bet. We're going to Firebirds." Chill out, fishy. We'll start acting up again. Go lay down, buddy. Go lay down. All right, so 30 minutes starting to curve up. 5 minute starting to curve back down, actually. The 5 minute already got a rejection at the 50. Good sign that this might actually break out sooner, but 5 minute usually is not the leading indicator on breakouts. I would say the minimum is probably 30 minutes, but you really want to be looking at the hourly to 2 hour for really good breakouts. 2 hours already at the 50. So we definitely could get some sort of bounce here. And then you would want to see us get rejected off of this diagonal resistance right here. So we definitely could get a nice bounce here and probably come up and retest the 0.5. And that also could be a bullish thing. Like if we see we get a bounce off the 50 and we start breaking this diagonal resistance, that is actually a potential sign that we are going to actually break out to the upside on this pattern, which I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to. I'm back in profit now, so I think I will take some of my profits. All right. And that way, if we do come back up and break out to the upside, I at least have my stop loss covered. And then, you know, obviously if things start looking bearish again, I could DCA back into the trade. But I don't necessarily think that we are actually going to break out to the upside. Retro. Sorry to not see your message earlier, but you need to re-look at that daily. There you go, buddy. Hey, you are fine. Do you have water? I'll be right back.
So I reached in my pocket and pulled it out, man. I knew she would want it. That little piece of paper with them 7 digits on it.
When MACD histograms are below 0, would that be considered a general bearish trend? I don't really give a lot of credence to whether or not the actual VWAP cross is below 0 or not. I don't think that necessarily matters. I just haven't seen a consistent, whatchamacallit, confluence with that. I mean, right here when we broke 0, we had a massive move to the upside. So, I mean, it could be, but it's not something that I focus on. Money flow is starting to flatline again and start to curve back up to the upside. Let me go down to a 10-minute. 5-minute. But a good sign is that the lower time frames are already getting pretty high. So that is a good sign that we could potentially be bearish, because the higher they go up without any massive movements, the more bearish that is. Zoltan, thank you very much, man. I appreciate you considering me to be a teacher for you. I do appreciate that, man. Like I said, for anybody that's here that has any questions about the Telegram group, what types of calls I give on it, if you want to go ahead and pause the screen, I'll kind of scroll through some of my past calls. And, you know, they have been very good for the past couple of weeks. I will say, just pat myself on the back there. But like I said, I'm not necessarily trying to make my Telegram group a signals group. It is more for the educational side of things. I want to make sure that you understand why I entered the trades, what specific supports and resistances would I expect it to retest or reach as a target, anything like that. I want to make sure that you guys understand why I make the trades rather than, hey, this is where I entered, this is my target. Hey, I just exited. Hope you exited too at that very moment in time. Anything like that. I don't want to structure it like that. I'd rather make it so that you understand my thought process on my trades. So that's just some of them right there. I usually focus more on the daily outlooks because, you know, I'm not necessarily trading for you guys, but I want you guys to make sure that you guys have good information and what potentially could happen throughout the day or the next couple of days or through a specific pattern. Do you give calls on altcoins on your Telegram group or just focus on BTC? It is mainly focused on just BTC. For quite a while, I would do BTC and Ethereum, but usually I just do BTC. But if the majority of people on the Telegram group want me to start looking at specific coins, like Ethereum, like EOS, like XRP, I can do that for you guys. I'm not opposing to it. It's just I want to focus on one thing so that I can consistently do it and people know what they're looking at when they, you know, open up the Telegram group. Let's see. Look at EOS and let us know what you think of it. Okay. I'll do that for you guys. All right, so we'll do EOS, US dollar, Bitfinex. First going to draw out some of the macros. All right, so we have pattern, breakout, bottom, swing high. Okay. So those are where my Gann fans are going to start. Got trend angle. That actually looks accurate right out of the gate there. Usually I don't get that lucky. We're going to try to readjust this slightly. Okay, that looks a little bit more accurate. All right, we'll put some fib retracements down. And just out of the gate, okay, it looks like we're starting to get rejected at the 2-to-1 Gann fan and the 0.5 fib retracement. Let's see. We could see it fall down to the 0.5 around $3.29. I don't think that's likely, but definitely somewhere within this range. I'll probably suspect the 0.618. I think it'll fall back down to there. And as long as the RSI has enough time to come back down to the 50, if you do see a bounce, I would be expecting it to break the 0.5 fib retracement and then start trending upwards towards the 3-to-1 Gann fan up here around $4.26. Macro term, it looks pretty good. I don't necessarily like that MACD though. You have a lot of hidden bearish divergence already forming. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It just means you would have to come back down, let the RSI cool off. But your macro supports right now, from what I can see, so your macro resistance would be this right here. Let's make that a little bit thicker and easier to see. So right here, your macro supports are going to be this line right here, this line right here, and you also have another resistance right here. So if you can break through the 3-to-1 Gann fan right here and this 0.618, you can probably get up to about $5. And I mean, that's pretty damn good as well. I mean, even if you fall down to the 0.5 and find support there and then start trending upwards, even to the 8-to-1 Gann fan, that's 100%. But if you break out above the 8-to-1 Gann fan, you're going to try to start trending towards the 1.618. So let's say you entered now, you got up to 1.618. That's about 604%. Not too shabby. Obviously, that is just on this particular piece of price structure. But if we were doing the entirety, we would probably be looking at about $248. So obviously, some of these will not get hit. You might not even hit the 1.618, but definitely the 1.272. So from where we're sitting, roughly about 2,000%. If we hit the 1.618, that's about 7,664%. But obviously on a macro scale, you would want to see it break the 8-to-1 Gann fan and the 1 fib retracement before you really start looking at some of these higher targets. As of right now, you are going to be being held down by the 2-to-1 Gann fan and probably having to move over slightly so that that is not blocking you. And then once you break through the 3-to-1 Gann fan, I believe, yep, 3-to-1 Gann fan, this might actually be your up channel in the next bull run. These the 2-to-1 Gann fan and the 3-to-1 Gann fan on your up channels. So, I mean, if you're taking that all the way up to the 1.618, that's about 1,000 days. So, a little bit longer than what I'm expecting on Bitcoin to reach its all-time high. But still definitely a possibility. XRP, please. All right, we'll do XRP. XRP looks like it's already bottoming out. You can see that right here we're getting a bullishly diverging RSI. Okay, so that's a very good sign. Obviously, it needs to come down and come back down and test the 50 and get a bounce to have some continuation. I can't really see where I can separate this pattern, though. To me, it just looks like a gigantic pattern. Obviously, we have a breakout here. Breakout here. Can't see where I can separate that, so I'm just going to do the entirety of this one. Actually, we'll just do fib retracements for this one. Because I don't think Gann fans will be that effective. Alright, so when it comes back down and tests the 50, if you do get a bounce, I would expect it to come up to at least 27 cents before any type of rejection or cool off. But if it does shoot past that, I would say you can get up to about 32 cents, almost 33 cents. And then if you can break that resistance, you probably start trending upwards towards about 44 cents. And on a macro perspective, how far away from this is it from its all-time high? We are already I'm probably going to load up on a little bit more XRP, to be honest. Let's look at the weekly real quick. Weekly has bullish divergence from this wave right here and this wave right here. Has hidden bullish divergence. Actually, no, it does not. Right here, it's got bullish divergence. Right here, so it's got lots and lots and lots of bullish divergence. The money flow is just now starting to curve back upwards. So I feel like this is a really good entry on XRP. You can see that the weekly RSI is very, very low. It just got a bounce off the oversold territory. What could happen over the next couple of weeks? You wouldn't necessarily be skyrocketing back up, but you should be forming a bullishly diverging RSI. So it could drop even lower. Don't get me wrong. But what you would want to see is putting in higher lows on the RSI, but putting in lower lows on the actual asset. And that will be a bullishly diverging RSI. And as long as you're DCAing along the way down, once you do get that bounce, it will be a definite payoff. Alright, so let's go check back up on BTC. Doesn't look like anything major has happened. I probably will be heading off here for a little bit. We've already been streaming for about 3 hours and 20 minutes. It's been a really good stream. We hit 75 viewers. A lot of people signed up for the one-on-ones. I definitely do appreciate that. As always, I love streaming for you guys. It's definitely a pleasure. And I just love it. So thank you very much, guys. We really in the beginning of a bull run. That means we have to load up on our alt bags. I think so, man. I think so. Mr. Wynn, Mandy, Retro House Mix, Latino, Chavez. Thank you very much, guys. Gerlandia, you're very welcome. Thank you for stopping by and asking those questions, because if you guys didn't ask questions during these live streams and really put my mind at a test, it would be very, very boring. So the more times you ask me to check out a certain coin or explain a certain subject that I know, it just allows the stream to have better flow to it. So definitely, any questions you guys have, I will repeat it 1,000 times. Don't be afraid to ask me a question. I hope the dislike in the video gets liquidated before the bull run. Who disliked the video? I'm gonna beat him up. How much slash percentage of your portfolio do you put into alt bags? So I have about 50% of my portfolio that is dedicating to holding assets. And then I have about 50% of my portfolio that's dedicated to trading said assets. That 50% is split up about, I would say, 40% Bitcoin, 10% Ethereum. And then the other ones I have probably around like 10% in Monero, 5% in XRP, 5% in Ethereum, and then probably the rest Bitcoin. Oh, also basic attention token as well, probably like 5 to 7% in that. I can't give you like exact numbers right now, but I will check it out and tell you guys what's up. What are your thoughts on the square of 9 and Gann fans' obsession with 45 degrees? Like I said, man, I do not understand a lick of why it works, but it's magic. The square of 9, for whatever reason, just like Fibonacci, is one of those numbers that are constantly followed in trading and in life. I don't know, man. You could say it's God, but truly, I honestly don't know. What time tomorrow is Telegram info? So the daily outlooks, I try to get those like an hour after I wake up, so I let my head clear. And sometimes I do wake up pretty late. So somewhere probably around 12 p.m. to 2 a.m. Not 2 a.m. 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Probably Dandon. Fish just like because he draws his attention off. What's your target for basic attention token? Do I still have my chart from last night that I was working on? Did I do it on Kraken? I don't have my chart, but we definitely have a double bottom on basic attention token, but long term, it's pretty easy to get this because we should just be looking at the 1.618. I'll be looking at about 46 cents from where we're at, so about 100% away. And obviously we can go much, much higher, but that would obviously be my first take profit point on that up run. This is just now emerging. So this is definitely one of those more speculative assets that I'm holding and not necessarily basing it off of price structure and targets. So there's a lot of price foundry that needs to happen before I can make judgments based off of technical analysis. But the concept of tokenizing advertisements, you know, advertising, it's a multi-$100 billion industry. So if you can tokenize that and make it into an asset that people can, you know, use to pay people for advertisements, I think that is definitely a good idea. And that's why I'm holding on to it. I don't necessarily have an exact target, but you better bet that as the price is going up, I will be using my fib lines to take profit on the bull run. And that is a good thing to do. You don't want to wait until you hit the all-time high to cash out all of your Bitcoin, because that is an easy way to lose most of your earnings. Along the way, you want to be cashing out on those fib lines. So 1.272, cash out a little bit. 1.414, cash out a little bit. 1.618, cash out a little bit. 2.618, cash out a little bit. And then eventually you will get to your all-time high and you'll have some sort of warning that that is the all-time high, and then finally cash out everything and leave a little bit in there to short the bear market, but definitely keep most of it in cash so that you can DCA on those bottoms throughout the bear market. You know, if you get verified, you can get tipped in BCAT. I did not know that. I've gotten a couple tips, so I don't know if I need to get verified, but yeah, I definitely like BAT. RJ, what's up, man? Alrighty, guys. That is going to be the end of the stream. Definitely want to start settling down for the night so I can get to bed a little bit earlier tonight. But I appreciate it. Thank you very much, guys. Anybody that donated, anybody that signed up for the Telegram group or signed up for the one-on-ones, very much appreciated. But if you're just here to watch and listen, you are valuable as well. So thank you very much, guys, for everything you guys do for me. Mandy, have a good night. Korean, I will see you in the next stream. I'm sure you'll probably be first. Crypto Half-Life, thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good night. RJ, I'm valuable. Crypto Dollar, have a good night, buddy. Will, you have the same name as me. Have a good night, buddy. Stretchy B, night night. Aaron Clay, have a good night, bro. Alrighty, guys. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll be back on Friday night at 8 p.m. EST. So do your calculations and show up. Just kidding. If you guys can't make it, you guys can't make it. But would be appreciated. Alrighty, guys. Nandon. Oh, what's up, man? You got a question before I go? FA, thank you very much, man. Glad I earned your viewership. Gerlandia, definitely, man. Good night. Mr. Wen, goodbye again. Nandon, I'm waiting for a question. You said, hey, Kite, you're the only reason why I'm staying. What? Nandon, type faster. Goodbye, Nandon. All right, guys. Have a good night. I will see you on Friday. Bye-bye.